Here's to whiskey kisses, the peaty taste of sin. An Edinburgh morning with the smell of brewing on the wind. Here's to lighting bonfires as you watch the seasons turn.
Greetings, whiskey folk, and welcome back to Drinking Out Loud. I am your host, as ever, Adam Bradshaw, and crazy thing is happening. We have another human being here in the studio.
Yay!
Welcome to the table, Stacy.
Thank you. We just established that I'm the first ever in-person live across the table host.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who isn't called Brett?
Exactly.
He has done a couple of tastings. He doesn't count. He works with me.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it doesn't count. Yeah.
For an actual special guest.
Yes.
He's just a guest. He's not special. So many of you watching this have probably come across Stacy before at festivals and things, and you've probably come across the brand that we're going to be talking about today before. But this is, I believe, the first time that you're going to be recording, especially here on YouTube, representing your new company.
Yes, yeah. Lionheart Spirits. So started actually last year, but it's been a bit of, well, just with COVID and you know, a lot of things happening, but this is the first Lionheart Spirits tasting for me, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably thinking, but you had Douglas Laing before, but now you still have it. So it just travels along with you.
Yes.
Spirits.
So we just worked it out that I would continue to work with Douglas Laing, and because I've been doing it, you know, and essentially been their face here for the last decade. So yeah.
Has it been that long? Wow.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah, I know. Makes me feel old.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's fun though, because I remember, like, I think when I first started at the Strath, we were just starting to really get into the Douglas Laing stuff, and we had the Remarkable regional malts, which is what we're talking about here today.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you were at the Highland Games that year as well, which was great fun.
Yeah.
And we were trying to, make sure there's room on the shelf, and I've made sure we've always had room on the shelf since.
Absolutely. Yes. You really
and yeah, it's been great. We've had fun times with the single cask series as well. We had some entire tastings with just them. And we have an incredible lineup of limited editions today. There's not a single standard bottling in this lineup. And not only that, but they are, every single one of them, launching live on our website in time with this video. So we get to pretend there's a big red button that we press.
Yeah.
We go live. This is great.
Sale. not sale. On sale.
On sale. On sale for sale as well, because every single whiskey is going to be 10% off.
Right.
For every Dram Association member. And if you're not a Dram Association member already, it's super simple to join up. Just go to strathliquor.com and take a look at the club's page. It's free. So why not, right? You join up, it's free, you get 10% off. Anything that's featured, which includes everything on this video, for a limited time only. Although, to be honest, that limited time only is probably for these whiskeys going to be for, until they sell out. Because that's the other thing about these limited whiskeys is I'm fairly sure we only actually have one case of all of them. So they're not going to be around for long.
Yes, yeah, that's true. I think there is just one case of each. Yeah.
I think the only one that we had a couple of cases of was the second to last one, which we actually secretly let our premium members have early access to about 4 or 5 months ago. So one of those cases is already gone. Yeah. I know.
Pays to be a member.
It does. And so, the difference between regular membership and premium membership, for those who are unaware, is, if you're a regular member, you get 5% off on all whiskies or 10% off on any of your featured drams. And if you're a premium member, you pay $10 a month and you get 10% off any whiskey all the time. You don't have to wait for something to be featured. You get your pick of the litter. Plus, you get some special editions and things that are exclusively available to premium members. Plus, you also get free samples in the store when COVID protocols allow, which we're looking forward to that happening. We can have tastings again now. That's exciting. We've had the Highland Games confirmed, so
yes, super excited about that.
Both of us are going to be there for that, I think.
Yeah.
And we're going to have all kinds of tastings coming up in the next few months, and hopefully in-store sampling will happen soon as well. Obviously, we've got to wait for the masks to come off for that. Can't really drink
straw.
Yeah. We were trying to figure out a way, but it wasn't worth it.
It's not going to be pretty.
No, it's not. So we are going to start with the whole thing with the Remarkable regional malts, of course, is trying to capture the essence of the regions of Scotland, which is probably going to make a lot of you laugh at home if you know me well, because I've gone on record so many times to say that the regions don't matter.
It's so true. And I know, like, Dave Broom talks about that, on the one hand, terroir is nothing, but then on the other hand, essentially, especially in Scotland, regionality really is important. And if nothing else, just to sort of, people know where Speyside is, and they know where Isla is, and they know where the lowlands are. So there's that. But there is, I think, something to be said about the regionality of the whiskies.
And this is, I think, the Remarkable regional malts are the exception that proves my point in a sense, because there are more exceptions to like the regional rules than there are like things that follow them these days. I mean, there's smoky lowlands, everything is on the table.
Yeah.
But what the Remarkable regional malts somehow captures is the idea that people have in their head of a region's profile, and then recreates that with whiskies only from that region, which is kind of magic. And I have to admit, I actually use the Remarkable regional malts to try and remember what people think regions are, because I've never really had a solid grasp of what a Highland should taste like or what a Speyside should taste like, because they all taste quite different.
True. And I think too, one of the interesting things about the regional malts, not all of them, but some of them actually list the distilleries that are in part of the blend. So with Scallywag, you have Mcallen, and with Timworth, BC, you have Blair Athol or Glengoyne. So people who know these distilleries can sort of, they probably tasted a distillery edition, so they have that memory of what that whiskey tastes like. So that's part of the regionality too. I think, which they've done a great job with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have 9 whiskies today, which is it's going to be fun. It's one more than we often have. And we almost had 10, but we decided that was probably a bit many. We're going with 9, and we've got every region in Scotland covered apart from one. And that just to make sure you're not expecting something that's not coming. We don't have any Goldrons here today.
It is coming.
It is coming.
It is
Excellent.
coming.
Well,
yes.
The funny thing is, though, is it's kind of hard. We wouldn't really be able to fit it into this tasting anyway, because I might be wrong. I've never seen, at least, or can't remember seeing a special edition Goldrons.
No, there hasn't been. Yeah, so
they're all special edition, really, because they're all small batch. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, but it is. I get emails often from people asking where I had the Goldrons. It was amazing. Where is it? And the last time I placed an order, they were due to production. There wasn't any, and it would have held up my entire order. So I said, look, I'm not going to hold up the rest for just the Goldrons, unfortunately. Sorry. But it's on my next order for sure.
Nice.
Yes.
But I mean, if we can put a request in with anyone at Douglas Laing who might be watching this for a cast strength Goldrons.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think I have a bottle of Goldrons. Yes, I do. I can see it. The black bottle right at the back.
Yeah.
Behind my old Perth 23. Beautiful. So we're going to start with the lowlands, because geographically it kind of makes sense, and flavor profile it kind of makes sense as well. So our first brand new release today is the 12-year-old Epicurean. What can you tell us about this one, Stacy?
So, for those of you who are aware of the lowlands, there's also, like Campbellton, there's not a lot of distilleries. And this is, I was thinking about this on my way over here, actually, with the Epicurean. And I hope I don't get myself in trouble. It happens.
We can edit things out.
Yeah.
We won't, but we can.
With the Epicurean on their first go, the core range. So this is sort of fairly new to the range. There wasn't really anything I thought that stood out that was really, I mean, it's a lovely whiskey. There wasn't anything wrong with it, but it wasn't really sort of wow, like the rest of the regional malts. You get some really strong flavors. The Epicurean was just sort of like really, I mean, it was really easy to drink, and they've since, and I think we'll see this with the next 2 whiskeys after this, they've kind of made some changes. So coming out with the 12-year-old, definitely stronger flavor profile, and in my opinion, like a better, sort of a more standout whiskey. So you get some more great flavors from the lowlands. So Auchentoshan, this is one of, they don't name the distilleries.
But there's only so many, and especially there's especially not many that are 12 years old.
Exactly.
Like there's only really 3 that you could use, I think, unless you're throwing in some crazy old clothes stuff. And I feel like if they were going to do that, like they do with Big Pete, they'd probably say. They would say,
yeah, for sure. So I mean, for sure there's Auchentoshan in there.
And there's probably Glenkinchie.
Yeah.
Maybe Bladnoch.
Maybe. Bladnoch, I mean, we've seen I've only ever seen a few independent bottlings from Douglas Laing for Bladnoch, but it's been a long time actually. And they were fairly old, like a 21-year-old, and that was a number of years ago. But yeah.
But I mean, there's all kinds of new distilleries down in the lowlands now, which theoretically might make it into the Epicurean blend going on, but certainly not in this one because none of them are 12
years old.
Not even Elsa Bay, which I think is like the newest of the new ones, so the oldest of the new ones.
Yeah, and that's what, 8?
I think so. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's. I'm excited to try this one because I have to admit I found the same. The original Epicurean that I tried was kind of like, it has to be there because otherwise they'd be missing a region, but it wasn't really noteworthy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was actually presenting for you at Comox, and I tried the Glasgow edition, one with the cone on
the cast strength. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great, and I think that's when they realized that they had something. Lowland whiskey's phenomenal, and maybe they just needed a little something.
Yeah, you need to lean into it a bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Which they definitely did with the second and third whiskies we've got today. We'll get onto those shortly.
Exactly, yeah, can't wait to try those.
Do you want to do the honour of cracking it
I
open?
was like, can I?
Yeah.
And you'll see, if you've seen the original Epicurean, you'll notice the color is just... This is an example of chill filtering. The cloudiness. People ask what chill filtering is. That's what it looks like.
This is what happens when you leave the whiskey in the car for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, this is, well, if it wasn't so cold, you would see that it was a little bit darker in color than the original Epicurean.
Nice. It'll warm up in the glass. We'll show you.
Yes, exactly. So chill filtering, for those of you who don't know, you cool the whiskey down. Oh,
so we have something. I thought you were going to do it mid sentence. We pause for the pop on these videos. People like to hear the pop.
Oh yeah.
Just so you know.
Oh my god! I almost made a faux pas there.
It's okay. It's happened to me.
Well, okay. Let me finish. Chill filtering. You cool the whiskey down. You put it through filtration system, and it takes off. Essentially the solids that are solidified that you see here, and what it really does is it changes the mouthfeel of the whiskey. And there's a sort of a, some people say it changes the flavor, and some people say that it doesn't. But anyways, there's no chill filtering happening, or else this whiskey wouldn't be cloudy.
Exactly, and I like the fact that it turns cloudy. I think that's cool.
I love it too. Yeah, I actually love when I come in from a tasting and they're like, "What's wrong with your whiskey?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's in the car."
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, are you ready?
Go for it.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, this is gonna be a good one. I can tell already.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And you've got a pile of glasses over there for yourself as well.
I'll put it first.
Yeah, I mean, chill filtration is an interesting topic because I have to admit, I don't know that it actually makes a difference, but I certainly feel like it does in my head. Like, if it doesn't, it still feels like it does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
the placebo effect, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Cheers. We were just talking before we started recording how I love the baby glasses.
Yeah. You're going too far away. It's remember we've got 9 of these, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
It's all good. They won't go to waste. What happens after the camera shuts off is
12-year-olds. Is this 46 or 46.8?
46.
46.
Yeah.
Which is what most of the regional malts are bottled at. That's the baseline. Some of them are 46.8, and sometimes some of the limited editions are 48 or above, depending on the cask strength, etc.
Nice. I definitely jumped head straight to the palate. I'm sorry.
Cool.
I often find I don't actually get as much out of the nose until I've taken a sip. You kind of have to
and then it confirms what you thought you smelled. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is, I get a lot of like the gristiness and the kind of the malty sweetness, the barley sweetness.
Yeah.
That's the only thing about the baby glasses. They're not quite as easy to maintain.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Patterson maybe who was saying something along the lines of, you got to shake the whiskey's hand before you say hello or something. So
yes, I'm sure he's got something. Yeah, but I'm sure he's got something witty to say.
He's supposed to throw it on the floor.
Yeah, or against the wall or something. Yeah. Hello, how are you? I mean, having said, maybe not some nice things about the core Epicurean, this is actually probably one of my new favorites to drink at home. It's just so kind of light and sweet, and it really does have a nice mouthfeel too. The 12 years made a difference, I think.
It smells like really fine powder sugar. Like if you've got like a really good like cracked donut, and you like sprinkling the powdered sugar on it.
I love the idea of pairing sweets and candies with whiskey. I was never really big on the food pairing thing, but and chocolate is quite good. But actually, I did a tasting with candy and whiskey, and it was phenomenal. Yeah.
I mean, whatever you're going to taste with the whiskey is going to open up different parts of your palate, right? So it's going to make the whiskey change.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little almond on the nose as well now. That's very pleasant. It's
candied fruit, maybe a little.
Yeah, apricots. It's summery. It's really summery, and for someone who is counting down the days until the clocks change back, I could do with a bit of summery right now.
There's a nice sort of sugar, like I almost get like brown sugar.
So I've had a couple of times where we've had special guests who I've done things like ask what song they think would pair well with a whiskey or something. I know, but I
should put me on the spot. I didn't prepare.
Well, no, I've got something better, because we were talking last night about the fact that you're quite into sport.
Okay, yeah. What sport does this remind me of?
Yeah, what sport would you want to drink this after playing? What was the perfect post sporting dram?
Sport. Oh my gosh. This might even be harder than song. I don't actually play a lot of sports. I like watching sports. This might be a good maybe post mountain bike. Okay. I did used to mountain bike when I was a lot younger.
I was thinking something a little bit more laid back, a little more Sunday afternoon, something like garden bowls or something, lawn bowls.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know. See, I'm extreme, so
you are pretty extreme.
None of my sports are going to be curling or bowling. But okay, yeah. So this is kind of like when you when someone says, what does that whiskey taste like to you? And then someone says, oh, it tastes like bananas. And you're like, oh yeah, it tastes like bananas. So when you said, lawn bowling, yes, absolutely. Lawn bowling sounds great.
And the only reason I didn't agree with mountain biking is because the idea of mountain biking just makes me want to curl up into a ball and die a little. So
yeah, I can't say I've done any mountain biking in like 20 years, but I used to love it.
I should ask Kristen. She's into mountain biking. And she is a fan of the Epicurean, actually. And we'll get into that in a second. All right, so this is the first age-date Epicurean, I think, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. I know there's been some special edition sort of age statement big piece and things in the past, but this is kind of part of the new lineup of, like, there's a full lineup of age statements, right?
Yeah, I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but so we were doing the limited edition regional malts, but I think actually moving forward, the 12-year-old there's going to be a core no age statement, and then there's going to be a core 12-year-old range of the regional malts as well, is my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, and I should have mentioned it's limited edition only simply because it's the first time we've had it, and there was a very small amount brought into BC.
Correct. Yeah. It might not be limited edition in the world.
Yeah. Some of them are very limited edition in the world. We'll get on to one of those next, but this is going to stick around, which I'm quite happy for.
Yeah, I really do like this one.
Yeah. Just reading there. Charmingly full of character with notes of sweet barley and citrus zest. I'm going to try and find
I get a little bit of citrus. A little bit of...
I do enjoy the artwork on the Epicurean as well. It's a very dapper chapper.
A dapper chapper, yeah. If anyone is familiar with Douglas Laing and who has maybe seen Fred Laing, you may notice a slight resemblance.
It's in the chin.
I think that is not coincidental at all. The way they so each regional malt they describe, there's sort of, there's a story behind the whiskey. The first one, the first regional malt was Big Pete, and he's an Isle of Fisherman, and there's a whole story about him. Scallywag was the family dog, but Epicurean, they call him a cheeky chap, sort of a 1930s Glasgow gentleman, and he's very refined, and
a refined Glaswegian.
Yes, yeah, I know. It's a bit of, that might be a contradiction, yes. But he wears a bow tie and has a cane and a top hat and whatnot. So, but they don't take themselves too seriously, which is fantastic. One of the things that their message has been is fun packaging, but serious liquid, So not serious in a way that, we're serious about it, but it's we stand behind it. It tastes great. And I definitely, you can see that.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me. I also enjoy on the artwork on the front here, it seems to have a couple of serving suggestions. It's got a lovely crystal cut decanter on one side and a cocktail shaker on the other. So is that trying to represent that you can have it neat or mixed?
Absolutely, yeah. They have some great cocktail. Actually, with all their regional malts, they have cocktail ideas like a Manhattan for Scallywag and a Big Pete Sour.
Didn't they have a competition with Epicurean?
So that's where the cast strength edition came from. It wasn't cocktail, but it wasn't they had they call it the bartender's edition, I think, and they had there was maybe a competition to be involved in creating the blend, and they invited bartenders from Glasgow to actually select the whiskeys that were going to be, and they created the blend themselves.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
And I just remembered the whiskey in my glass is now officially warmed up and is no longer cloudy, and is a beautiful crystal clear. It's almost it's like a heavily oaked Chardonnay in color, which is fun. I like Chardonnay.
See, I don't like Chardonnay, so I'm glad it doesn't taste like that. Yeah, very nice.
I definitely like this more than I like Chardonnay.
Yes, true.
All right, so let's hit that virtual big red button. But before we do so, it's important to say hello to everyone in the live chat. Because, of course, this is going out on YouTube. Not live, we're pre-recording the whole thing, but it's airing at a specific time. And for those who are watching it as it gets played for the first time, the premiere, they call it, there's a live chat happening. So I'm going to be there answering any questions. I don't know if you'll be there or not. We haven't decided on the date yet, so no idea.
I'll be there if I'm invited.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll let you know when it happens.
Okay.
And you might be able to ask Stacy questions too. But if Stacy isn't there, please leave us a comment on the video and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions as best as we can.
Absolutely.
And we can always forward questions on to the guys at Douglas Laing as well.
Yeah, for sure. And, actually, when I get advance notice of when this is, then I'll, maybe the new brand ambassador will be able to. Yes, yeah. New brand ambassador.
Nice.
Don't know who it is or when they're starting, but there is someone.
It's me. No.
Yeah.
That'd be great. What a way to announce it. No. Sorry, guys, I'm leaving the strap.
No.
Okay, so big red button time. I've got my notes here with the official price at strathliquor.com.
Right.
So long as I've written it down correctly, that is. Regular price, $134.70, which means with your 10% discount, which is available right now for all 1,200 Dram Association members. I know, right?
That's a lot.
It's what happens when you make a whiskey club free.
Smart.
Right.
Yeah.
It is available for 10% off, and that means it is $121.23, and it is on sale right now. So go get it. And we're going to take a quick break to show you a picture of the lowlands whilst we get set up for the next whiskies. See you in a sec. Okay, so our second and third whiskies are kind of a bit of a pair, which is kind of cool. But before we get into that, you mentioned something just a couple of minutes ago, that Douglas Laing is all about being playful on the package, but serious about the liquid inside. We have the perfect thing to go with that. Then.
Oh, Big Bad John. We love Big Bad John.
Big Bad John's 5X lager, right? Because, of course, in Scotland, it is very, very normal to have a half and a half.
Or a half and a half, is Whiskey Brian always loves to tell me, yes.
So, yeah, you have a beer with your whiskey. That is naturally the way to drink it. So, glad you're there.
I was wondering if we were just going to have a full tumbler of Epicurean.
Yes. We're going to get blackout drunk live on YouTube.
No. That's why.
And special shout out. The guy on the can here was actually illustrated by local illustrator Andrew Redbeard, who now works at the Strath. You'll see him behind the counter if you go into the store. You can't miss him. Big red beard. Bigger and redder than mine. I'm quite jealous.
He almost looks like he could be Big Pete. Like the hillbilly. The hillbilly version of Big Pete.
Big Bad Pete.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wait, stay tuned.
Wait, how many bottles do we have to buy if we buy a whole thing of Big Pete?
No, that Big Bad Pete.
Big Bad Pete. Ooh.
Something's happening.
Oh, we could get Andrew to illustrate like Big Pete in his art style. That'd be super cool. Anyway, on with the show.
This is what happens when we get together, right?
Ideas sparking everywhere. We have 2 limited editions now from the Epicurean line, and these are very, very limited, not only here in BC, but globally. And I'm really looking forward to them because it's a cask type that I really enjoy. In fact, funnily enough, you see that little cask? I don't know if you can see it on the video. Yeah, that little cask behind me?
Yep.
That was a Christmas gift from one of our Whiskey Club members.
Oh.
And I have seasoned it with port and now have whiskey maturing in it.
Oh, cool.
Which I love port cask whiskey, and that's what we're about to have.
Yes.
But I'm also excited because I can't wait to show Kristen these whiskies. Because one of her favourite whiskies of all time is right behind you. That little square on our collection is Kristen's whiskies. So the 7 whiskies.
Oh, so she's got that on there.
Yeah, the Epicurean cognac cask was stunning and is one of her absolute favourites. So hopefully she'll fall in love with one of these as well, because I definitely forgot to get her a Valentine's gift, and one of these would be perfect.
I think the cognac was it the first of the wood finishes, or was the result?
I don't think we got the result. So
no, we didn't. I did a tasting with Ottawa Whiskey Guild, and
nice.
And they had bought it,
yeah,
somewhere else.
It was. I think it was the first. I feel like there was 2 when we did it, but I don't.
The cognac and
I think it was something else, but I can't remember.
I know, it probably was. I can't remember.
Well, no, it was the cognac came at the same time as the Glasgow.
Right.
That's why I was thinking it was 2.
That's fine.
All right, but we have Tawny Port, but we also have Ruby Port. And I have to admit, I don't really know that much about port. I know it's delicious. I generally drink Ruby, but I have been known to drink Tawny as well. Do you have a preference between the types of port?
I am not super familiar with port myself. Same thing with sherry. I should probably learn more about sherry, especially since it's super important to whiskey maturing. But aside from the color, the tawny port would be the super pale addition, and really that's as far as my knowledge goes. And I'm ashamed to admit that. I did think you were going to ask me that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't think about it either. We'll do research and put some information in the live chat.
Exactly, the magic of video. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. And I think, do they actually put the number of bottles on here?
Yeah, it's right there underneath the banner there. So the Ruby Port has 684. So that's potentially 1 port pipe. Really.
And that one says...
And that's 406.
Because I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, so for 406, that's tiny. So yeah, I mean, 684 is...
406 bottles? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What?
One of only 406 bottles. It says right there.
Wow, that's nuts.
Right. So it's probably a single cask.
Yeah, definitely.
In fact, it says single cask at the top.
Ta-da!
Mystery sold.
We're like, what?
Oh.
Okay, so this is the super limited edition.
Yeah, so that's probably a port pipe, because I know pipes are like halfway between a hogshead and a butt, I think, which would make this one the other one a Gorda, is it? The big one that's like the size of a butt? Yeah, I don't know. I should have paid more attention in my Victorian English math class. I specifically remember we did a school trip to an old Victorian school, and they taught us all about cask sizes when I was about 9. I don't remember anything else. I just remember thinking that's really weird.
So they taught you about volume based on barrel sizes? Oh
exactly. Yeah, and they actually gave us a ruler to take home that had them all down the back. I'm like, when are we ever going to use this? Turns out, I should have remembered that.
Fast forward, a few years. Super.
I remember one of my favorite ones though was a blood tub. That's one of the smallest ones.
Have not.
Yeah, it's like,
never heard of that.
I think it's like 20 liters or something. It's a tiny wee thing.
Maybe there was a reason why they stopped using that one.
Yeah, probably. All right, so we're going to crack open the tawny first. I think we should just do a side by side with these. I think that'd be more interesting, right?
We could do the double pop.
Exactly. So I think some of your mini Glencairns have Dram Association logos and some don't. Do you have 2 with the Dram Association? Because I've got all clear ones now. So I'll pick one of those and I'll give you one of these. And then we can remember which is which. Yeah. We'll have the tawny in the clear.
Okay.
And the ruby
Have I got tawny
in the
here?
logo. You've got the tawny.
Okay.
I've got the ruby.
So let's see the color.
And we can see if we can do synchronized pops.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so there is a bit of difference in the color. Yeah. It's almost sort of orange.
Yeah. And actually, it's kind of almost like the difference in the color on the logo.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I just noticed has no longer got a cocktail shaker and a decanter. It's now 2 casks.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're saying maybe don't mix.
Yeah, maybe don't miss this one. This might not do it justice. All right.
No rules. Do whatever you want.
I'm very excited for the first ever synchronized cork roll.
This is gonna be coming. Wait, I have it. Okay, wait, never mind. I had an idea. Okay, are we ready? All right. On the count of 3. 1.
On 3 or after 3? 1, 2, 3, go, or 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3, go.
Cool.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, it was too tight. I'm sorry.
I came first.
We need a redo. Hang on. I've loosened it up now. We can. Second time to go.
1, 2, 3.
Yes. Excellent.
Oh my god. Okay, Tawny in the non-logo.
And Ruby in the logo. I'm a bit stingy with my paws.
Oh well, apparently that's why I'm having more fun than you.
I thought it was just with your blonde.
That might be it too.
Alrighty. Cool.
Tawny porch.
That smells lovely.
Amazing.
So that is one of the wonderful things about Lowland style whiskey, especially Auchentoshan with the triple distilled, is it takes on flavour from wood like nobody's business, especially if you put it straight into a cask. These are finished, I assume.
Yeah.
Finished. But even so, Auchentoshan is generally casked at a higher ABV, so it leaches more flavour out from the higher alcohol from that triple distillation.
Pear.
Really nice, yeah.
Pear and chocolate.
Yeah. Peppered pears. Wow, that is quite something. And there's a vegetal, almost nettle-like quality on the nose too.
Wow, that's really good. This one's, I think these are both 48%.
Yeah, I believe so. Cool. Oh, let's bring that into the shop.
Oh,
nice, look at that.
That's what we have.
Perfectly mirrored. We've got the big bed jams and everything. Everything's in its right place.
Symmetry. This is like perfect symmetry right here. Wow, this is really amazing.
I have to admit, I feel like a proper whiskey YouTuber now, because I mean, there are a few YouTubers that go on their own, of course, our local favourite Food Quig and the Manx Bossy Man himself. But a lot of YouTubers now are a two-parter, a two-hander. So it feels natural. This feels right.
I guess I'll be coming to Victoria more often.
You really should. Trini and C, we're coming.
I was just going to say that. We need a gimmick.
Stacy and A? No, that doesn't quite work, does it? Well, that's our gimmick, coming up with what sport we play.
Cork popping, that's what it is.
There we go, yeah. Synchronized cork pop. You don't get that anywhere else, guys. That is a Drinking Out Loud exclusive.
Yeah. Wow, that's really nice.
It's, I feel like 95+% of the port cask whiskies I've had have been ruby. So I'm not used to these flavors as coming from a port cask. It almost, if I was to guess blind, I'd almost say maybe Sauternes or something. It's...
Yeah, they don't say. They say the region, which I can't remember off the top of my head. But
the Douro Valley in northern Portugal for this.
Yes, thank you very much. I think both actually casks come from the same region.
Cool.
You definitely
ginger, yes, candied ginger.
Yeah, definitely get that kind of spiciness, that sort of a little and a little bit of like a little bit of heat, considering it's only 2% more. But
and I think more so than heat for me, it feels really concentrated flavor wise.
Yeah,
I actually almost want to. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna add a couple of drops of water. I know this is usually only for the cask strength stuff, but 48 is pretty high. Oh wow, that is viscous. I don't know if I can make the camera see that, but like you add a couple of drops and you can see it.
Oh wow!
Wow, it's like honey. That's crazy.
Okay, I'm going for it. Why not? It's an experiment.
We can always pour more.
Exactly.
That is grapefruit marmalade. on rye bread. That's what I'm getting. Grapefruit on rye. Oh, very nice. Although,
yeah, I'm getting more sweeter notes. Like I'm still kind of stuck on the chocolate. Maybe that's wishful thinking. No, I'm pretty sure it's chocolate. I don't love ginger, so I almost wish you didn't tell me that.
What are you trying to say?
Not that kind of ginger.
I feel attacked.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip of beer.
Big Bad John will calm you down. Actually, the beer goes really well with it.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm getting orange. Yeah.
It's a good palate refresher, actually. I'm going to take a sip of beer in between trying these.
Ginger, or no, I'm sure this is a thing. I'm not trying to like recover here, but
Sure.
I'm sure it's a thing, but I wouldn't know because I don't like ginger, the spice, or what is it? A fruit? No, it's not a fruit. It's a
root. It's a spice, I guess. Yeah.
Like candied ginger or chocolate ginger, like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting. Not marmalade. Totally. A little bit of like that orangey, but more actually chocolate ginger.
Both of those things very much exist.
Yeah.
And are delightful. Despite prejudice. Cool. I'm going to go into this ruby and see what it's got to tell me.
Oh. I kind of like ruby more than I do Tommy.
It's definitely the more common.
Is that?
Yeah. Like I said, I think a good 95% of the ruby cask, the port cask whiskies I've had have been ruby. And actually, probably 95% of the port we sell at the store is ruby too.
I mean, tawny port is the very kind of like lighter color. Is that
I think
right?
So. Yeah. We'll do some research and get back to you.
Yeah. We should be more educated on our port.
You know who knows about port? Megan. I'll ask Megan. Maybe I'll see if I can get a video clip of her explaining port. One thing I'd like to do, actually, we a few years ago in the Dram Association, we did a masterclass tasting where we tasted different styles of sherry with whiskies that were matured in that style of sherry's cask. It was super cool. I want to do that with like ports and sauternes and things as well.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Neat.
I went to pretty sure it was a Mcallen tasting where they did the same thing, where they talked about the type of port, and then the whiskey matured in that cask.
Nice,
which is pretty cool.
I don't know. I think I like the other one. I think possibly just because it's more different. It's less of what I was expecting, and I like to be taken for a surprise ride with a whiskey. But this is good. It's just safer, I think.
I like this on the nose more. It smells like a bit richer, more
raspberry syrup, maybe?
Yep, definitely raspberries. Yeah. That is good. That is very good. I thought the first one was more kind of like milk chocolate. This is more sort of like a dark chocolate.
Nice.
I was pouring. I had posted a video on YouTube where I was pouring 6 whiskeys for a tasting that I've got coming up, and these were part of the two. And I kept on saying, "I smell chocolate. I kept smelling chocolate," and now I know why.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have another whiskey later on that might have that same effect.
Yes. Yeah. It just
just maybe.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the tawny port might be.
I mean, they're both excellent whiskies, and it's especially interesting having them both side by side. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should sell them as a package deal. You get one, you have to buy the other.
Well, and I mean, there is another port edition of the Epicurean coming up. I don't know. Did I tell you that?
No.
It's the white port.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love white port.
Yeah. So I mean, if I didn't know anything about tawny or ruby, I certainly know nothing about white port. But that's their another limited edition in their wood finish series, and it's already been released in the UK, but it's on my order. So
nice.
Yeah, a few months.
Really enjoy white port. It's a very different experience, but Megan got me onto this actually. Drinking it with soda water is incredibly refreshing.
Oh,
yeah, it's beautiful. But it reminds me, and this might put a few people off of white port, but it reminds me of white balsamic vinegar a lot, which I love to make into drinks. It's a great cocktail ingredient.
Oh, yeah, you get the acid.
Exactly. That's a balsamic cask, ex-balsamic cask whiskey. Why has that not been a thing? Probably for good reason, but I am intrigued.
I put a drop of water in it. This is actually
for science. It should be done.
Yeah, I think I prefer this one because it's a drop of water.
For the port?
One drop.
For the port. Yeah, I like the port over the port, personally.
The ruby.
I'll take any port in a storm.
Yes, the ruby.
The ruby? Nice. Well, hopefully some of you guys at home who are managing to cheekily to drink along with this video will let us know in the chat or in the comments which you prefer out of these two. But whichever you prefer, well, honestly, it doesn't really matter because they're exactly the same price and they're both available right now. You want to hit the big red button for us? Available right now at Strathclyde Wine and Spirits. Available currently on strathliquor.com for 10% off for all Dram Association members. Regular price for these is $158.17. With your 10% discount is $142.35. Pretty cool.
Very good.
Nice. And we are taking a trip now. We are leaving the lowlands and we're heading a little further north. How much further north? Well, you don't actually have to go that far north to reach the Highlands. No. They're surprisingly south.
It's a pretty big region, the Highlands, yeah.
In fact, one of my favourite Highland distilleries geographically is Loch Lomond, where you can technically throw a paper aeroplane to the lowlands, I think.
Correct, yeah. It's quite close to Glasgow, actually.
Yeah, you could almost put Loch Lomond in Epicurean and get away with it.
Oh, they should.
All right, on to the Highlands, and the Highlands is yet another wonderful character in the roulette wheel of characters. It is the Remarkable Regional Malts. By the way, speaking of roulette wheels of characters, I really enjoyed the one or all of them with the different heads and the different bodies. That was incredible. That was
part of their 70th anniversary, and they did for those of you who didn't see it, it was the Remarkable regional malts are all blended malts for their region, and then what they did was combine all of those regional malts into a limited edition where you had the Lowlands, the Highlands, the Speysides, and Isla.
And even Campbellton, it had a little spider on there.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You had to spot, I think it was like dangling off Scallywag's ear or something.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even know that. Oh, there you go. Yeah, and then and what this was in 2018, and I went to Glasgow for their big celebration, and it was quite a feat to actually have that tube where it twisted around, and it was really cool. You could make, Scallywag be on Big Pete's body sort of thing.
It was very satisfying.
Yeah, it was great.
I think my favourite was Timorous Beastie's head on Big Pete's body.
Yeah.
It's just like, a mouse shouldn't have a head that big. It's great.
Yeah, it was great.
But yes, speaking of mice, that is exactly what we have next. What is the story behind the wee little mouse on a postage stamp here?
So Timorous Beastie is from a nod to Robbie Burns, Ode to a Mouse, and I'm not going to go on with any of that because I have no idea about the poem, and I should, and you put me on the spot.
Sorry, you've got to know the whole thing off by heart.
Yeah, exactly. The wee sleekit mouse. So he is, and this is kind of the contradiction where Timorous Beastie is, a wee timorous cowering mouse, but in actual fact, the whiskey itself is nothing like that at all. It's some beautiful, well-known Highland whiskies. There's Blair Athol, Glengarry, Glengoyne, great whiskey in there. Yeah.
And that's three fantastic distilleries to build a blend around, I think.
Absolutely.
Glengarry especially, you don't see enough of it. It's such a fantastic distillery. And I feel like Beam does that a lot, where they just kind of neglect their really good distilleries because they pay far too much attention to Isla and not enough to the rest of the portfolio.
Yeah, and I mean, I think though, as we move on, they're like most whiskey companies, they're recognizing that they need to have a single malt, and Glengarry, and for those of you who are thinking, I've never seen Glengarry before, it's spelled Garioch. So
yes, you may have had a Glengarioch before.
Yeah, or a Glengarrick. I also get that too. Yes, so that is why you've maybe thinking you've never had that before. But even Glengarry it's as a single malt is not super popular.
No. And Glengoyne and Blair Athol, the two you mentioned?
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
Blair Athol's a great one. I don't think I've ever seen in person an official bottling. I don't know if there is one. Is it pistachio, isn't it?
I've seen Blair Athol. There's not a lot. They are fairly expensive. I know, in fact, I have a 25-year-old Blair Athol single cask. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling it might be Diageo, so it's probably part of their annual releases, but not part of the standards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think Blair Athol is a distillery that, for a lot of people who have been to Scotland and they go to the region and they go to the Blair Athol Castle, so there's a connection with time and place where you've been to that distillery and you have a real fondness for that whiskey that you've tried. So that's why people, I think, really love Blair Athol. It's not it's not hard to get to. It's pretty close to Edinburgh and whatnot. Yeah.
And it's also really easy to pronounce.
Yes. There's
which helps. Lovely. Do you mind if I do the honors on this one?
No, please do.
All right. I'm excited. I very much enjoy the regular Timber Species, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what batch 2 of the 10-year-old is like. That's the 46.8.
I'm not going to lie. I'm always disappointed that the bottles are dark. So you think, and then you're like, oh wait, what does the whiskey look like? You can't tell. And
how much is left in there? That's it.
Yeah,
I can just about see.
Yeah, and I mean that's what they used to do. Early days that they had dark glass because the whiskey was cloudy before chill filtration, and that's where chill filtration came from. But so they colored the glass so you couldn't see if it was like cloudy or there were wee things floating around in there. But I always find that so disappointing with the Timber Species because you're waiting to see what the whiskey looks like, and then you don't know until it's in the glass.
I was also wondering if maybe, like in the early days before they really understood the chemistry behind it, whether they thought it might have the same effect of beer, where if it gets too much sunlight, it goes bad, right? But that's thankfully not the case.
Yeah, I think it was more of a we're going to hide the fact that it might go cloudy, or there might be wee corky bits in there or something.
Yeah, we're hiding the floaties.
Not in this one. Yeah.
Cool. Small batch release, 10-year-old. It doesn't say how small of a small batch, but this is the second. Yeah, all right.
And on all of the batches, they actually have a lot number, like a batch number. It's really, really hard to see, but
it'll take Braille as well, with it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Alcohol, do not drink. Ignore that advice and drink it. All right.
Here we go.
Oh no! What?
That is I've never seen that happen.
Every 1 in 1,000 it will happen, and it's definitely not the first time it's happened on this channel. So
I've never seen that happen ever. Like never. Wow.
We'll take a pause while I find a corkscrew. See you in a second.
Oh my god.
Funny.
Oh, there we go.
That's fine.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
All right. It was a nice, clean break. We're all good. There's no floaties. We're not trying to hide the floaties in the blankets. It's all good. And luckily, because I come prepared, I'm sure I'll find another cork that will fit. All right. So let's pour a wee dram.
That was like almost a clean break right at the top.
Yeah. I think cork being a natural material, cork breaks don't just happen from dusty old bottles. Being a natural material, sometimes they just have slight flaws in them. That's going to happen sometimes. Corks aren't perfect, but so long as it's a horizontal thing, then you're fine. If it's vertical, then you've got problems because it might have oxidated. But that was still a perfect. You can see where the liquid reached the cork. Still a perfect seal. Absolutely nothing wrong with the whiskey. But we have a little trophy.
There was no pop, folks.
No, sorry. We'll
make it up.
Well, we did a double pop at once, so that's worked twice. And we did it twice, so we're good. Yeah. We're actually a pop ahead of where we should be.
Oh, I can smell this.
All right, let's see. That bit in there? That'll do. It's a bit mushroomy, but it'll work.
I always love the nose on a Timber Species. It's wow.
It smells like a custard cream biscuit. Have you had those from the UK?
I'm trying to think.
I feel like I mentioned them a lot on this video. My best equivalent description for North American crowd is imagine a blonde Oreo, you know, the blonde, but rectangular. It's basically the same thing.
So the so I'm married to someone who's from the UK, and so I know there's like a lot of sweetie and biscuit / cookie references that as North Americans have no idea what they're talking about, especially on tasting notes. And I think, do you know you're writing your notes for it? I mean, I know what custard is, but when I think of custard, I think of it as like a pudding, like something that's really, really soft. So
yeah. I have a can of it actually. I could crack it open. Yeah, it's
like I think of it like when I think of custard, I think like a tart, like where it's like, you know, a pastry filled with something.
That is its form of custard. Yeah, pastry custard. The more common form in the UK is almost like a dessert sauce. You pour it over a pudding. Yeah. Okay,
so custard biscuit. What did you call it?
Custard cream.
Custard cream.
It's custard flavored.
Oh,
yeah. It really is just like a blonde Oreo.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm thinking of a more liquidy.
No, like a blancmange.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. No. When they talk about tablet and things like that, people
flying saucers. That's my favorite. Everyone's like, tastes like a flying saucer.
What? Yeah.
You remember the flying saucers? Have you had those?
No.
I have learned the most amazing fact about flying saucers, because for those of you at home who know what I'm talking about.
It's not a UFO.
No, not quite. There's these sort of like foam, it's a candy, but it's like a foam sort of UFO shape where the circle bit on the inside has sherbet in it. It's just kind of like a wafer with some sherbet.
I know. So people are going, sherbet what? Sherbet's like ice cream.
Not ice cream. Sherbet like a fizzy sour powder.
Yes. Yeah. Like I'm trying to think what we would have as a comparison.
Yeah, those dib dab things.
Yeah. Fun dip, or what do we call it? Yes.
Exactly.
That's sherbet. Yeah.
That's sherbet.
Yes.
And I found out recently that there's only one factory in the world that makes them, and it's the same factory that also makes communion wafers. And it's literally communion wafers with sherbet.
It's a religious experience.
It is. I'm kind of smelling sherbet now. I don't know. The power of suggestion.
It's so pale, which is I mean again, this is just pure speculation, but I wonder if that's why they put it in a dark bottle, because it is really pale, and you know they call it the wee beastie or timorous beastie, but it's not. When you taste it, it's not timorous at all.
No, but it's perfect for a mouse. It's like a little mouse in bed.
Yeah. And like a mouse, it can wreak havoc.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing with the pale colour on whiskey, like I love pale coloured whiskies because the colour on whiskey is not important in terms of quality, but it does give you a bit of a clue as to what it might taste like. It's not that this is going to be less flavourful, but it is more likely to be bourbon cask, which is going to give you different types of flavours. So I'm expecting more of a big sort of biscuity vanilla bomb. And that custard cream I got on the nose is exactly that, really.
Yeah. Honeyed, really get honeyed.
Smells like Fruit Loops.
No, it's probably going to smell like Fruit Loops.
Like crushed Fruit Loop powder at the bottom of the bag. That's amazing.
That's super specific. No, I don't get that.
I've only had Fruit Loops twice in my life, so I'm probably not the best reference point for them.
And when you did, it was the bottom of the bag.
It was, yeah.
Twice in your life?
Yeah.
I shouldn't sound surprised because I think I've had. I mean, I've smelt them. I don't think I've actually ever had a bowl of Fruit Loops too sweet for me.
Fair. But I don't know if they still are, but I feel like when I was growing up in the UK, they were banned because they had too many chemicals in them.
This is from the country that allows iron brew.
Right?
Yeah.
And haggis.
Yeah.
Not for chemicals, but it's banned most other places. Oh, that is very, very inviting. It's creme brulee.
Yeah, very creamy, custardy. Sweet. Still get some of that sort of gristy barleyness, like barley sugar.
Speaking, actually, staying on the cereal note, one thing a cereal I fell in love in when I was traveling across the US in a motorhome that I can't find in Canada, grape nuts. Have you ever had those?
We don't have them?
Can't find them. I think historically they were really big in Canada, but I cannot find them for the life of me anymore.
We used to have them. I'm sure. I mean, I've heard of them. There was like what was the commercial? There was a commercial that was like pretty famous.
Nice. I feel like they should come with a warning that they might break your teeth. But
if you leave them in milk for like 5 minutes, it's like complete mush.
Yeah. But I mean, grape notes, for anyone who's ever worked in a distillery, it tastes like spent grain. Yeah. And smells like spent grain. Which actually this is a little, has a bit of
that gristy barley.
Yeah, it smells like a working distillery, which is kind of cool. The kind of small distillery where the stills are, and the mash tun especially, is actually quite close to the maturation site. So you're getting the smell of maturing whiskey and the smell of fresh mash at the same time, which most distilleries in Scotland are a bit big for that, but a lot of smaller micro distilleries here in North America, you'll get that experience. I'm thinking Divine especially.
That's not something I'm aware of. I've never experienced that, but I've seen Divine Spirits everywhere, so they're doing it. Like every bar, every liquor store that I've been in over the last 2 days has Divine Spirits, so that's fantastic.
We have a couple of special single cask Divine releases available right now at the Strap that I will give you some samples of later.
Nice, can't wait. They must be doing something right.
Yeah,
this is really nice. I love Timor's PT.
I do too, and I think there's been a big rebound recently, especially on the in the internet world for whiskey, especially on Reddit actually, of people like rediscovering first fill bourbon casks as a style, which I assume there's quite a lot of first fill.
Yeah, definitely.
And it is a gorgeous, gorgeous style of whiskey. Like there's been so much in the last 10 years of a draw towards sherry's the only way, but really not. Like a good bourbon cask whiskey is a beautiful thing.
One of the things I think with the bourbon casks is that it really lets you don't get as much. I mean, obviously the cask influences the spirit taste, and you're going to get some different things from the sherry cask, but the bourbon cask is going to give you so much different flavors and not as maybe overpowering. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's really letting the spirit shine through where there's, don't get me wrong, sherry matured whiskeys are some of my favorites because you can really see, the magic that goes on in the cask. But with the bourbon cask whiskeys, it's really about the spirit as it goes in there and how it matures, and you don't have any sort of, when you see it, you think, wow, there's no coloring or like it's pale.
Yeah. Hollywood has told us that dark whiskey is the only way to get.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So it is. Yeah, it can be deceiving, but really, I think exactly like you said, the bourbon matured whiskeys are really exceptional. They maybe don't pull as much from the oak as the sherry matured whiskeys,
But when you've got like a big, strong Highland style malt whiskey behind it, you want to be able to taste that distillate. You don't want to hide that. And this reminds me, I don't know if there's any of that distillate in it, but it reminds me an awful lot of what I would consider the most classic Highland single malt from an official bottling of Glenmorangie 10, which is 100% bourbon cask. Which is kind of like the yardstick for a lot of people of like, this is whiskey flavored whiskey. This is an example of a near perfect standard edition whiskey that everyone else should use to, have
measuring stick.
Exactly, yeah. And this measures up very well to it, I have to say.
Yeah. There's no official, I don't think there's any Glenmorangie in there, but I could be wrong. They don't really sell it much. No, they don't. Glenmorangie being part of the LVMH family, they used to sell it as Westport as a teaspoon malt, which was actually teaspoon with Glenmorangie, which the LVMH group doesn't own anymore.
No, it's Martinique Passé, I think. That's
So I'm not sure. There's always a lot of changes.
But yeah, it's definitely captured. If I was to be asked what I thought stereotypical Highland whiskey was, my first answer would be, that's a ridiculous statement. There's no such thing. And then if really pressed for an answer, I go, well, I guess the best selling and the most well known is Glenmorangie 10. And they've really captured that kind of flavor profile using, again, only Highland whiskies.
Yep.
And I think that's an incredible feat.
Yeah. This is fantastic.
Okay, so this hopefully will be an ongoing release, but right now it is a limited edition because we only got a small amount for the first shipment. So the Wee Beastie 10, amazingly, comes in at $117.39, which means it is available right now with 10% off for $105.65, and that is available now. $105.65. That is magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
That is an excellent price for an excellent whiskey. And I know the one thing that a lot of people will be saying to themselves in the live chat is, it's great that we've got an age statement in Timorous Beastie. Love age statements. I think they bring a lot to the table, especially for what to expect from a whiskey. But there's one thing we like possibly slightly more than an age statement.
Casper.
Yeah. All right, what do we got here, Stacy?
Well, first of all, look at the red eyes on this beastie. He's like almost evil. I'm not sure.
He's not so timorous anymore.
No, he's not. So this is the Meet the Beast edition.
Sounds like a sitcom.
Yeah, could be. 3,600 bottles. And this did come out in the UK probably, I guess it's almost a year ago now. They really, really, they've been really pushing this heavily, and they were moving away from this whole idea that Timorous Beastie was this kind of timid whiskey, and they wanted to really profile that, like, you know, the wee mouse, okay, but like this is actually some serious whiskey. So they did this limited edition cask strength. What is it? 54.9. Nice. Is it? Oh yeah. So again, it's the slightly disappointing dark bottle.
But it does offset that red and white label really nicely.
Yes,
it does make it pop.
Yeah, it is beautiful, and he's not quite so dark on the label here. He's got the wee red eyes. You can sort of see. Yeah.
It feels really like metal.
Yeah. What was that?
Like full on metal. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Black Sabbath should be drinking this with us.
Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, where are you? We're calling you out. Oh no, wait, he might want to bite the head off.
I'm not sure he drinks anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably a good thing.
For the safety of the wee beastie.
Yeah. Oh, whoops, I broke the thing off.
That's okay. I
broke
don't know if you noticed, I actually take all of the scarves off.
I kind of like that. It looks
right, the naked neck. Yeah. You got to shave the bottles.
Naked neck. Okay.
Dear.
I have no idea which order my whiskeys are in the front, but I know this is the 10-year-old.
So long as you know which one you're drinking.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're ready for hopefully no cork breaking here. No, it's not going to happen.
Oh,
that was a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah. Full points for the pop. How about the glug? That's the...
Yeah. Oh, that was a good glug.
That was a good glug.
Yeah.
Oh, it felt like one of those Zen crane water jugs. I'm at a Buddhist monastery right now.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No?
Zen.
They're not cranes, they're fish, aren't they? The koi fish-shaped water jugs they have at Buddhist monasteries that make glug sounds as you pour them. It's supposed to be like a...
And they're just pouring water to drink? Or they just...
I assume so, yeah. I don't know.
I haven't been to a monastery. Oh. Wow.
Yeah, that is awesome.
You would think that with a cask strength, it might be on the nose, like you wouldn't get as much, you would get more alcohol, but I actually think there's more sweetness.
Yeah, so much flavor.
And I mean, still, it's hard to tell how much in my glass, but still as the light.
Yeah, I pretty much finished mine. Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, I know. That's why the video gets better as we move along.
Exactly. Better for us, maybe not for the viewer.
Sorry.
If we're slurring too much, let us know. We'll type out the notes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, one of the most fun things that we've had recently is YouTube started making automatic closed captions. It does not understand my accent at all, and it had an even harder time with the guy from Amroot as well. That was pretty rough, I feel.
Oh no! When I was back in the day, and this is dating me, but I had a pager that had the fancy feature of, like, if someone phoned and left me a voicemail, it would come up as text on my pager. So someone could leave me a voicemail and it would type out. And at the time, my husband was not my husband, but courting me, and he's Scottish, so he would leave me messages, and it would be, you know, da 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 da, and then like illegible, not sure, but that were the words that would come out because they couldn't understand what he was saying.
It's like when they bleep out the swearing on text. It's like, which it might be what they were doing, to be honest.
No, but I could go back and actually listen to the voicemail. So it would save on my voicemail, but it would also get.
Nice.
I'm going like this because I wore it on my belt right here, and it was like a like a total drug dealer square thing where your message came out. Oh yeah. And now you know how old I am.
I had a friend when I first moved to Canada. I lived in a small town in Ontario called Orillia.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Near Barrie.
Yeah.
And I had a friend, Krista, at the time, who used to text me, but she always did the voice to text thing. She never checked it before she pressed send. And like 9 times out of 10, if she said the word Orillia, it would come out as, oh, really, eh? Oh, really, eh?
So Canadian!
Like, nice.
Oh my god. Maybe that's how that town got its name.
Maybe. Speaking of so Canadian, so we're on a bit of a tangent here, but this is one of my most favorite facts. I think it was CBC. It was some sort of national thing. Did a poll where they were trying to find the Canadian version of as American as apple pie. Like, what is the Canadian version of that? Have you heard that? So you heard the winner?
No.
The winner was as Canadian as possible under the circumstances.
Oh Jesus. That's so lame. That's so Canadian because they're so lame. It's like so politically correct and like so like not offending anyone. Oh my god.
Dear. So this smells like brandy snaps to me.
Which is
it's a old French dessert. It's kind of like slightly burnt thin pastry that's rolled into like a cigar shape. That's like it's like burnt. It's like tastes like the top of a creme brulee and brandy.
Okay.
With like biscuit.
Again, no idea. This is like the 10-year-old kind of on steroids, but not. I actually feel like the 10-year-old was a little more not harsh, but like intense on the nose. This is more gentle and sweet, and a lot of the vanilla from the bourbon cask.
Yeah, there's a nice sort of, I don't want to say ice cream because it doesn't smell quite as sweet as ice cream, but like a vanilla cream, like a thick vanilla cream.
So one of the things that Douglas Laing, they have cocktail ideas that we talked about earlier for their various regional malts and food pairings, and with Timorous Beastie they talk about like a cheese pairing, which is interesting with whiskey. I've never done that, but I can see the merit in that. But they talk about a half and a half. So I'm going to try the beer with the Timorous Beastie because that's one of the things they really promote.
I just did that accidentally, and I have to admit it does go very nicely together.
Half and a half. Which I always think of Whiskey Byron because he talks about that.
If you'd like some cheese, I have cheese.
Oh yeah, I think it's because of the maltiness for the beer and the maltiness that I get from the.
It's funny. For me, a nice crisp lager like the Big Perchance is a near perfect combination with whiskey. I also really enjoy something like a Kolsch or an Alt beer as well. But I almost want to try a sour beer with this. I think because this is already so malty, I think a sour beer would offset it really cool.
I'm going to disagree with you on that because I do not like sour beers at all.
Fair enough.
I'll go with cheese. Maybe cheese is the sour version, or the version of the sour beer, maybe.
So if I ever need to give you a gift basket, it's going to be Chardonnay, sour beer, and ginger.
Yeah, exactly. Right. If you want to say, I don't really like you, Stacy, and I didn't listen to anything you said, that's what you're going to get me.
Actually, that would just show that I did listen. I was just being an ass.
And you don't like me. Here you go. Here's a big, huge middle finger to you.
The middle finger gift basket. I think that's a marketable idea.
I think it really is. What? Don't you like my gift?
Actually, that has
so many good ideas.
That has happened, though. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was a thing on the internet a few years ago. There was a company where they sold penis-shaped candies that was called a bag of dicks, and you could send people a bag of dicks. It was great.
There's a company, my friends made this on Instagram. There's a company out of Toronto that does like dick-shaped waffles and dipped in chocolate.
Nice.
And they want to bring it to Vancouver. She's like, she sent it to me. LOL. I'm like, we're going to this. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, when it comes here, I'm totally going to this. Like, are you kidding me?
Every bachelorette party ever will do that.
Totally.
Like, they've got a captured market there.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just, yeah, I don't know, mine or going further.
Oh, just a random Thursday.
Yeah. Monday night.
What are you doing tonight? Well, I'm going for a penis-shaped waffle.
Yeah. We might have to edit that out.
Nah, it's fine. Hey, you have to be over 19 to be watching this anyway, because we're talking about booze. If you're not okay with penis-shaped waffles, then get away from me.
Oh my god.
Alrighty. Yeah, no, that is a glorious half and half.
Why do I smell chocolate with every whiskey?
Maybe you're just craving chocolate.
I might be. I don't know. Okay, coconut.
Oh, coconut. Yeah. It smells like a Bounty bar.
Mmm.
A dark chocolate Bounty.
Chocolate and coconut.
Or, if you want to go one step further, and I might actually have one of these in the cupboard, have you ever had a cherry ripe?
I hate cherries.
Oh, right, yeah, we've been through this. Never mind. A cherry ripe is an Australian thing that is basically a Bounty with a little bit of cherry syrup.
Okay, I don't have cherries, but I hate like artificial cherry.
Especially in air freshener form.
Especially, I was thinking about that today. Why do I hate that smell? I think it reminds me of like cherry, like that when you were a kid and you had to have cough syrup that was flavored and it's cherry flavored. I don't know. It just smells like it just, and then I don't even know. I don't know why I have an aversion to it.
All I know is I've just found an extra thing for the gift basket.
Just adding to the list. I know exactly what to get you. You know what? It's so funny. My husband says this. He's like, I know everything you don't like. What do you like? Because I'm really vocal.
Everything else.
I'm really vocal about things I don't like, but maybe I'm not as vocal about things that I like.
Well, whiskey. There you
yeah. It's so easy. If I say I don't like it, give me something that's not that.
Yeah. All right. So I should probably release this whiskey and let us move on to another region.
Yeah.
So meet the Beast. Cast Strength Timorous Beastie. Regular price $129.48, which means at a 10% discount, you can get it right now for a limited time only, because there's only 5 bottles available, for $116.53. $116.53 for a Cask Strength whiskey.
Yep.
It is always a bargain, and it's only one of 3,600 bottles ever made. That's a pretty limited edition. Not quite as limited as a single Cask Epicureans, but pretty limited.
Yeah, that's true.
On a global scale, that's like... It's actually incredible that BC got any, to be honest. That's one of the things that always shocks me is we're such a small, relatively insignificant player in the global game, but we definitely pull our weight with whiskey, and you're one of the people we thank for that.
Well, I think, and they do allocations for this, and when this first came out, they said you can have 2 cases, and I said, you know what? If you can give me 8, I'll take 8 cases, and I mean 8 cases for the entire province is nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I was like, this, I know the whiskey drinkers, or I feel like I feel like I know what the whiskey drinkers want, and they want to castrate whiskey.
I think they want to castrate Timorous Beastie.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that it's possibly already sold out, even though we released it like 45 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It's gone, guys. Sorry. I don't know that for sure. It's worth checking.
Yeah.
Strathliquor.com/Dram Association, and all of the new releases will actually appear right there on that page under the featured whiskies header there. So just hit refresh and it'll appear right there, or you can use the search bar, of course. That is whiskey number 5, where that was halfway. We're over halfway now. Right? But we're taking a trip now to the Highlands. We're already in the Highlands, but we're going again to the Highlands, but more specifically to a sub-region, which is so famous and popular that it's classified as its own region now. And that is, of course, Speyside. Welcome to Speyside. Okay, so, of course, the Scallywag is next. The entrant for the Speyside region. What's the story behind the Scallywag? I remember you told me once.
So the Scallywag is the second regional malt, remarkable regional malt after Big Pete, and it was released in 2013. And Scallywag was named after the Fred's family fox terrier, and they called him a wee Scallywag. So they actually on the picture, if you actually look closely on the label, the picture of the dog is missing a tooth, and their dog, whose name I can't remember. Sorry, they called him a wee Scallywag, but that wasn't the actual dog's name. But he's missing a tooth.
I can confirm he's missing a canine.
Yeah, he's missing.
Wow.
He's missing a tooth.
That's almost the worst tooth for a dog to not have.
So it's kind of, they just, again with the Laings, they were looking for a name to put with their Speyside blend, and I'm not actually sure why they thought the dog would be good for their Speyside whiskey, but again, they just they don't take themselves too seriously, and they came up with the wee Scallywag.
Yeah,
sweet wee Scallywag. And
this is essentially sweeter than most, because this is a special edition that is called the Chocolate Edition, which is very exciting. I was just scanning the bottle for a second there to see if I could see anything about it. I have a vague memory that when I looked this up online, that it was something to do with a World Chocolate Day or a chocolate festival or something.
Yeah, I think that's how they came up with it. I mean, and there are various, a number of limited edition Scallywags. Unfortunately, some that we don't get in Canada. But this was, the tasting notes of Scallywag pair well with chocolate, and so they ended up coming up with this chocolate edition, which neither of us have tried yet. I'm super excited. Yeah,
48%, one of 3,000 bottles, and of course it's this comes at a perfect time, because one of our recent releases at the Strat, which absolutely flew out the door, we had I think 36 bottles or something that went like in a few hours, is the Mcallen chocolate edition, and of course this has Mcallen in it,
absolutely,
which is super cool. So this is basically a even rarer Mcallen chocolate edition. Can't guarantee it'll get as much on the secondary market, but it'll be delicious, and that's the more important thing.
Mcallen, Glenrothes are two of the more well-known distilleries in this blend for sure.
Yeah, I think Mortlock.
And Mortlock, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool. Which I always enjoy, because that's a lot of big character. That is. And it's interesting because a lot of people, when they think Speyside, think of
the Glens,
and Glenlivet, right?
Yeah.
Which are more, I would say, lighter, much more, less aggressive. But the three distilleries that they base this around are big, meaty, like worm tub style distilleries.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily, I would have thought, what a lot of people would think of when they think Speyside. However, it is what a lot of people who are really into whiskey will think of when they think of Speyside. So you really understand here who Douglas Laing are really marketing towards. They're not really marketing towards the general public. They're marketing towards people who know their whiskey, which is kind of cool. They're definitely the hobbyist enthusiast sort of blender. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And there's people who have whiskey clubs for Big Pete and Scallywag who collect every single limited edition. And I've had someone from Sweden actually recently who reached out to me to have me send him one of the limited editions that we did. And it cost him an absolute fortune, but he had every single edition of Scallywag, and this one was a BC exclusive, and he had to have it. Nice. And we actually had to send it. I sent it to Denmark. Maybe I shouldn't say this. I sent it somewhere.
The paperwork was filled in. Yeah, it's okay.
And it came. No, but it came back, and then I had to send it somewhere else to someone who's someone, and all you whiskey people will be like, yeah, that's what we do. And he finally got his bottle, but it cost him, I can't even, it was nuts. But he had to have it.
It's one of my favorite things is if you look into the customs data for Scotland, they export an awful lot of olive oil.
A lot of olive oil, a lot of shampoo, and soap, and my new favorite is the lava lamp.
Oh, nice. Groovy.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Would you like to do the honors on the chocolate edition?
I can't wait. And I mean, I am one of those people who is judging a book by its cover. So when I see the color of the whiskey or the label, like wine labels or book labels.
Well, you've not seen this yet, have you?
No. So, So seeing that gorgeous color, it almost looks like toffee, caramel.
Yeah.
Wow. Super excited for this.
Yeah, this is going to be nice.
So 100% sherry matured, not finished. They're all sherry matured whiskeys, which is, Mcallen, Glenrothes, that's something that they do.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, speaking to your other hat portfolio, that's something that you'll find a lot in the Old Perth, is the 100% sherry mature.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is kind of the Douglas Laing version.
Yes. Okay, there we go. Oh, this is going to be the one. Wow.
Yes, it is.
Oh, we love the pop.
Chocolate icing, juicy dates, and rich red fruits.
Dates.
I love a date.
Yeah. It's a lot of glasses.
I know, right? We'll make it. Don't worry. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I jumped right ahead. I'm sorry.
I know it's fine because I if I wasn't pouring, I would have done the same. Oh, I mean, Scallywag always has a familiar nose to me, but it's that chocolatey Christmas cake.
I'm not entirely sure what I mean by this, but it smells like silver. Like ever so slightly metallic. It reminds me.
Is this an episode of what's that TV show? Like in a totally different realm. Black Mirror. Is this Black Mirror?
Smells like the color silver. Yeah. No, it reminds me of the old English tradition of hiding like a silver penny in the Christmas pudding.
Oh, okay. Like tin foil. So do you? I mean, I don't know. My dad did this where he would actually take quarters and wrap them in tinfoil and put them in the cake. Maybe he didn't wrap them.
No, we just threw an actual silver coin in there, so it happens. Yeah.
So, but I mean, the cake was probably chocolate.
No, it was a fruit pudding. It was a Christmas pudding, a big, rich sort of sherry soaked.
Yeah, so dried fruits and
exactly. Yeah.
So you think about the coin. I think about the chocolate.
It's a chocolate coin.
Yeah.
Another Christmas
tradition.
Yes, yeah. Weirdly Christmassy. It's funny though, because we're recording this on, is it the 15th today? I've lost all sense of time. 16th, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is 2 days after Valentine's Day. This would have been a perfect Valentine's Day whiskey. This might be the one I have to try and buy Kristen.
I'm the Epicurean.
Yeah, that does smell very... If I was to pick one of the 3 distilleries that are named on this, it smells more towards Mortlock. It's very Mortlock 16-esque.
Is it 90% or is that 90%?
What a delightfully dry finish.
Very dry. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. It much like chocolate, it's very Moorish. It makes you want to go back and have another sip straight away. So, of course, it would be entirely rude of us to have this whiskey and not have some chocolate. So I have here a bar of Kasama chocolate.
No, I've never heard of it.
Beans a bar from East Vancouver.
Oh. Wow. Which is where I'm from.
Yeah.
Or where I'm not from there. I live there.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
This is the Rio Caribe edition. Tasting notes of cashew, scotch, and toasted barley. So I thought that would be perfect with this.
Very, very perfect. Well, I'm definitely. Well, how come I haven't been over here for whiskey tasting more often?
I know, right?
I'm putting my geeky glasses on because I can't read the label.
A very special thank you to the Whiskey Club member who actually gave me this bar of chocolate. And I want to say who it is, but I'm not entirely certain because I actually get gifted really good chocolate from a couple of people, and I should have written their name on it. I'm fairly sure this is from Becca though. So Becca, thank you very much if this is from you, and if it wasn't from you, then still thank you because you give me fantastic chocolates, and thank you to whoever the hell gave me this. Looking forward to it. So
the label says deliciously indulgent dram carrying a big cherry influence, which we've already established. Delectable notes of creamy chocolate icing and juicy dates and red fruits. Which Or maybe red grapes, I think.
Advertise the chocolate there. And this was from the Chocolate Project in the public market, who I think are still around. I haven't checked up on them since COVID. Hopefully they're still selling chocolate. Nice.
Yeah. The dryness of this chocolate, I think it's going to go on.
Oh, it makes the whiskey so much sweeter. Oh, that is glorious together. It really brings out the sweetness that wasn't really there before. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is good.
So good. Great idea.
So I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something special on strathliquor.com because we have our entire store up there, almost. And there are a few things that we don't have available online. And one of those things at time of recording is our selection of chocolates. So just in case any of you want to buy this and also get some chocolate delivered with it, I'm going to put our Denman Island chocolates up online. So if you want some Denman Island chocolate to go with this, that would also work quite nicely.
Really nice.
All right, very, very good.
I love how the play between the chocolate is not sweet at all. It's very rich and not bitter, but you get that dark chocolate, and then it makes the whiskey seem that much sweeter.
And it brings out a more herbal note to the whiskey, I'm finding as well. It's almost sort of like almost floral, but not in a light floral way. It's almost like a honeysuckle thing going, but
yeah.
I want to say like rosemary almost.
Look at that. One of the things with whiskey is, I mean, I love whiskey and I know what I like and I know what I don't like, but putting to words what you're tasting sometimes is so hard, you know. And I mean, the great thing is like the more you practice, the more you can you're succinct with what you're tasting, but it's not an easy thing.
It's not. But I think one tip that I would give for anyone who does have a hard time with it is don't be afraid to just say something, even if it like rosemary is what it's reminding me of. It doesn't actually taste like rosemary, but it's the closest approximation I can think towards it. And there's no wrong answers. That's the wonderful thing.
Exactly. It's subjective to everyone. So one person's, whatever, white chocolate is someone else's black pepper.
This is a great experiential whiskey. This is the kind of whiskey you want to... I wouldn't want to sit alone and drink this. This is a sharing whiskey.
It really is. It's super complex. It's like, wow.
I just realised we haven't sort of talked about what sport you'd play after any of the whiskeys apart from that first one, but that's fine.
Rugby. This one, I feel like I should have played rugby first.
Absolutely.
This one is...
This is whether you've won or lost, you drink it with your teammates.
This is a big whiskey. This is like, of all the whiskeys we've had tonight, this is like, this is the biggest. I just had a drop of water.
I think another question is, who would you want to share this whiskey with? And one person comes to mind who I think would absolutely love this whiskey and probably does, and I'm fairly sure he probably had some for his store. Roberto would love this whiskey.
He has this in his store for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, this was, I think I had 5 or 6 cases in BC, that's it.
Wow.
So yeah, 30 bottles, 24, 30 bottles.
As always, thank you very much for thinking of us at the Strath.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, that is phenomenal.
Yeah,
really I like what
good.
they've done there.
This is like, this is the most complex.
More chocolate?
No, I'm like the color. This is almost red. I'm so fascinated by this whiskey.
Delightfully deep.
3,000 bottles. Very good.
Well.
Wait. It's all backwards. There we go.
So, again, though, it's really nice to have a lot of sherry cask influence. That's one thing that a lot of whiskey fans really enjoy and ask for, much like age statements. But there's another thing that a lot of whiskey fans also enjoy. Cask strength. This next one actually has all three. It's sherry cask. I'm not sure entirely, but it's at least some sherry cask. It's age statement and it's cask strength. So this one's going to be very exciting.
I think they're all sherry matured, no?
Yeah, 100% sherry. So this is 100% sherry cask matured, age statement at 12 years old, and cask strength. Non-chill filtered, non-coloured. This ticks every single whiskey geek box there is.
This is the holy grail of whiskey right here.
100% malted barley, small batch of 6,000 bottles. Yeah, this is the whiskey geek's whiskey. And I'm very much looking forward to trying this one. So, is this going to be the standard edition for the age statement range, or is this a limited edition within that?
Well, I'm not sure. So they had talked about doing 12-year-old whiskey for the core range, but the 12-year-old core or age statements are not cask strength. So I'm not sure. This came out before they decided to release.
Which would make sense because it does have a number, 6,000 bottles, right?
So I'm not sure. There's a lot of different editions they do with Scallywag. So truth be told, I don't know what's happening with this 12-year-old.
Fair enough. Well, I know what's happening is we're going to open it.
Yeah. That's what's happening.
All right. Let's get glass number 7.
Do you want to compare?
Whiskey number 7.
Do we want to compare the colors right now?
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
So really similar.
Yeah, very similar. Let's hold them up sideways to the light there. This one's a little redder.
Yeah.
This one's a little yellower, but about the same darkness. Yeah. Just different hues. That's very cool. Good thinking.
Right.
Have you done this before?
A couple times. 300 times. I love that beautiful dark color, but this is way more red than this is a more kind of honey golden color.
Which makes me think that the red color I find often comes with more European oak, so this might be more American oak sherry casks. Yeah. This
one I have not had. That one I've had, so I definitely know. Yes.
So now you get to give your second opinion on. All right.
I thought that broke.
No, we're good. I break it on purpose.
You might be fired from corking or popping corks.
I'm just amazed that I haven't done my general faux pas, because the amount of times I've been caught on these videos getting a spoonerism on those words. Are you familiar with a spoonerism?
Spoonerism?
Yeah, it's where you get two words and you mix up the first vowel syllable. Consonant syllable. So instead of cork pop, I've often said pork cock.
Okay, I thought that was called something else, but I do that all the time. And, and apparently that's a sign of intelligence. To actually mix up the first two letters of the words. Oh yeah, for sure. We're smart when you can do that. And then actually know that you're like, yeah, I know what you meant.
I will embrace the pork cock.
Exactly.
Embrace the pork cock. That's the next t-shirt, guys.
Yeah. Whiskey T-shirt club. Oh my god, Mike Brisbane for sure is. I think he might be the president.
Yeah, I think so. He's got a couple of Dram Association ones.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And he's sending the new ones actually.
I'm just for the fun of it. I'm gonna have a beer. Sip.
That is every bit as full flavored on the nose as the chocolate, but a slightly different. Just like the color, actually. Same intensity, different hue.
You know, I hate to say this because I love whiskey, and I'm the distributor, but I wasn't super. I wasn't super impressed with the chocolate. I was a little bit disappointed. Yeah.
I think on its own, it's a good whiskey. With chocolate, it's a great experience.
Maybe that's what it is. I have not had a I've not had a Scallywag that I don't love, and I did not love that one.
At the end of the day, of course, one thing to always remember is that a whiskey is Morpheus. It's going to change every time you have it. You could have that exact same whiskey tomorrow and be head over heels. It might just be that it doesn't go very well after a cask strength timber feasting.
That might be it, yeah.
And in fairness, that is a tough act to follow.
It is, yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, I liked the chocolate, but I don't like it anywhere near as much as I like this.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe that's what I mean more that I'm loving compared to the two. This one is
It didn't live up to expectations, maybe.
Yeah, I was really expecting it. It just didn't fulfill the chocolatiness of the name.
Well, that's the question. Is it supposed to be chocolatey flavored itself, or supposed to go with chocolate? Right.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
It's like that painting, The Scream. Is he hearing the scream or doing the scream?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is very, very pleasant whiskey.
Mcallen, Glenrothes, Inchgower, which is also a distillery that you don't see very often, or I don't even know how they ever with OBs, but
I'm trying to think. I've only ever had one Inchgower. I think it was an 80 Rattray.
And I'm guessing most likely Sharon matured because that's what they do.
Absolutely.
I'm not even sure who the parent company is, but obviously it goes in a little blends.
Yeah, I want to say it's one of the smaller ones. It might be like the same guys that have like Anok and Balblair.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's certainly not very commonly seen. That's a very, very nice dram. Reminds me of the Casper Camdew official bottling, which you can't get in Canada, unfortunately, or at least you can't get in BC. You might be able to get in Alberta because Alberta. Yeah. Certainly we've gone a long way in this video without mentioning Alberta. I think that was quite impressive.
Almost like what, 8 whiskeys or
7 whiskeys in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it reminds me an awful lot of Casper and Camdew.
Camdew's great. I just added a drop of water, which is sometimes, I don't know.
See what happens. Lawrence is always slightly shy of putting water into sherry cask whiskies. He thinks it's much better with bourbon cask. But it killed the nose.
It did, but on the palate, I think it really changed it.
Oh, it's chocolatey.
Wow. Now you get the chocolate.
Now I've got chocolate.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. I would say that's chocolatier than the chocolate.
It is, and you know what? Also, actually adding water made it feel more, really, really feeling the alcohol more than before the water.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is weird. For me.
Interesting. Yeah, it's pricklier.
A little bit more spiky.
Yeah, a little hedgehoggy. Adorable hedgehog. Well, that is quite delightful. And yeah, if you are interested in a whiskey that kicks every single box, ticks every single box in the whiskey. Yeah, it actually does kick it. Yeah.
And ticks them.
It's the soccer one. There we go.
Well, you know what's funny, because Douglas Laing calls Scallywag their adventurer's dram, so it's like you're out. That's their kind of time and place for Scallywag. So yeah,
be good for Whiskey Bry's Hip Flask Whiskey Club.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
That'd be a hell of a hip flask dram. All right. Well, if you would like to put this in your hip flask or glass or anywhere else you would like to pour whiskey into your mouth from, this Scallywag 12-year-old cask strength is available right now at strathliquor.com. Regular price $152.96, which means at 10% off it is $137.66, which is absolutely ridiculous, to be honest, for a 12-year-old cask strength sherry cask Speyside whiskey. That is mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, get one of your 5 bottles right now, and yeah, it's probably sold out. It's probably gone. Sorry, guys. It's all gone. Yeah, that is very, very good. I've enjoyed every whiskey we've had so far, but I have to say this is probably my favorite so far.
Wow.
Although I don't know. Yeah, that's really hard.
So far, yeah.
That's really hard.
I think I might be in agreement with you there. I was so disappointed in the last one. Oh, the Scallywag chocolate. Okay. Cut that out.
Let us know in the live chat and in the comments if you're one of the people, because there will be plenty of people that prefer the chocolate over the 12. Because that's the wonderful thing about whiskey being such an experiential thing and it's such an individual thing. There's going to be a lot of people out there that did prefer the chocolate over the 12. So if you're tasting along and you did prefer the chocolate, let us know. I'd be very intrigued to hear. And let us know why as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's probably the name because I love chocolate. And I just thought that, like, oh my God, chocolate edition sounds amazing. Sometimes that's just marketing, I guess.
That's right. Well, it's one of the things that's... You've always got to make sure that when you're reading a whiskey label that you don't get too
wrapped up
in like the expectation of it. And this next whiskey is definitely something that I definitely have high expectations for. Partially because I've had a different batch and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But also the whole idea of getting a whiskey that is lightly peated, which is my jam. That is exactly what I want. From the islands in a sherry cask.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're taking a trip to the islands right now with the Rock. I almost said island. Oyster.
No,
wait,
island.
It is island. Damn it.
No, wait, let's go back.
Rock Island. Rock Island Sherry Cask Edition. Some of you at home are already maybe halfway through your own bottle because, like I said, premium members did have a bit of an advance grab on this, but the rest is going to be available quite soon. This is exciting. It has 4 islands named on the bottle here, and here's the quiz. Can you remember them? What 4 islands are on the front of a rock island?
Arran, Jura, Orkney, Islay.
Oh, you're too good. But it really does narrow down the distilleries a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Islay, we don't know. I mean, there's quite a few. If I was to guess, I'd probably say Kalila because it's the most prominent.
Yeah.
Jura, well, that's probably Jura.
Yes.
Orkney, well, it's unlikely to be Scapa.
No, it's Highland Park for sure.
Yeah. And Arran, well, it's unlikely to be Lag. It's probably Loch Lomond.
Yeah.
It's the original Arran distillery. Well, not the original, but the modern original.
Yes, correct.
The first licensed, though, I think. There used to be like 100 or something distilleries on Arran that were all illegal.
100?
Something along those lines, yeah. But that was probably back in the days where every farm had a still. Yes.
Yeah.
Extraordinary character with maritime island qualities.
We did a Rock Island deconstruction tasting at the Victoria Whiskey Festival. But Chris Leggett came and he poured whiskeys that were part of the Rock Island blend, and Highland Park, Kalila, Arran, Jura, were all part of that tasting. So that's when I was like, okay, now I know what's in this, and I mean, it probably, as they are small batches, that changes every time depending on what's available and etc. But
well, there's not many other islands that make whiskey really. I mean, we're missing Mull. There's no Tobermory in there, but Tobermory doesn't really sell much, so that makes sense. And there's a few other islands that have got tiny little micro distilleries, like Lewis, and Harris. But you've got all the classics in there. Yeah. Oh, and Talisker. You're not going to go get any Talisker. No. I think I've seen one independently bottled Talisker. I think it was Douglas Laing, wasn't it?
I actually have 2 IB bottlings of Talisker through Douglas Laing.
Nice. Amazing.
And again, shout out to Roberto, sorry. Oh no, that's Highland Park. A 10-year-old Talisker that we have, that we did for Roberto before Christmas, yeah.
Nice. And I remember you had one 4 or 5 years ago, and I was going to get it, but it was just quite expensive, and I wasn't certain it was going to sell. And by the time I decided, yes, it probably would, it had already gone.
It's super expensive, and I mean, I think this is the thing that not people, but like as whiskey drinkers, there's maybe not a misunderstanding, but like whiskey is super commercial, and so distilleries like Ardbeg, Talisker, Lefroy, they are going to be super expensive as IB bottlings, and as and the thing is, it's kind of like gas, where it's like the market fluctuates so instantly, where if all of a sudden there's a price change or a popularity change or demand, it can go up instantly. Whereas the distillery bottlings might take might take a while to adjust, so that the prices Ardbeg or Lefroy or whatever are going up and people are complaining about it, whereas the Ivy bottlings, Mcallen, Ardbeg, Lefroy, Talisker, they can instantly go up. And I get this all the time. People say, "Oh, can you get Talisker or Port Ellen or Ardbeg?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can get it, but I don't think you're going to pay what the market price is."
But that's the interesting thing about IBs, and especially with blends as well. I mean, blends, the blended malts like this are fantastic for value proposition. I mean, this is every bit as good, I expect, if it's anything like the last batch I had, as like the Talisker Distillers Edition for less money and for better sort of. It's a great value proposition. But the other thing with independent bottlings that I love is exploring the distilleries that you don't usually see. And for every distillery that is a brand name, there's something not the same, obviously, but similar that you've probably never heard of, which is half the price. And like one of my big things right now is I love Clynelish, right? But IB Clynelish is so expensive these days. But have you tried a IBT and Innick? I know you have. You have one, and they're fantastic.
Yeah, I love Innick. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And if you're willing to branch out and explore, there's all kinds of wonderful things to be had. And I think exploration is a great introduction to the Rock Island. It's all about exploring the islands.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Do you want to do this one?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, we were talking earlier how I wish that they had kept the Rock Oyster name.
There's still an oyster on it, though. I think that's what threw me off.
There's still an oyster, and this it is also throwing me off because I want to call it Rock Oyster all the time, but they felt that the oyster name was too polarizing, but people thought that maybe they had to have an oyster or that they had to like oysters, and of course not everyone likes oysters, but in BC not everyone likes oysters, but a lot of people like oysters, and it's a big part of the West Coast culture. So I'm really hoping, Douglas Laing, that you do a Rock Oyster BC edition.
Yeah. And I think as well, the one thing to note on that is that because we're relatively used to seafood here, even if you don't like oysters, you're not disgusted by them.
Yeah.
You grew up around them, understand them, that people eat them.
Yeah.
I just thought, I don't know if it's possible, but if they did a Rock Oyster edition, they should do, it's still an island malt. They should put some Shelter Point in there because that's from Oyster River.
Okay, right? Well, I'm going to Shelter Point tomorrow.
Leon?
Yeah, Leon, we're talking to you, and Douglas Laing's all about collaboration, so maybe, you never know. Maybe they still call it Rock Island, but it's like
the Oyster Edition.
But it's the Oyster Edition. Yes. Oh my God! Seriously, Adam, why are we not in business?
At least we've got it all on video. We're going to remember when we're sober. That's the
trademark. Rock Island Oyster Edition.
Rock Island Oyster Edition.
Ready for the pop? I think I'm winning on the pops.
You are.
Ooh.
I mean, that's only because I broke.
Exactly.
All right.
Oh, that's nice.
So one of the reasons that I love the more lighter style of peated whiskey, I love big peat bombs. I love big peat. But I enjoy when peat is used as part of a bigger picture, when it's an instrument in an orchestra rather than a solo. And when the orchestra also has sherry in it, I guess sherry is like an oboe. It's the nice big deep sort of soothing thing along the back.
Oh, is that what the oboe does?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
You know what's funny actually is
I don't know why I'm doing that for a double bass for an oboe, but
an oboe isn't that
yeah. I don't know. As you can tell, I've never been part of an orchestra.
This is what you do when you're an orchestra.
Yes. This is how you play the oboe, everybody. Oh no.
Oh no.
That's the title of this video now, How to Play an Oboe.
Oh no. This is what the video is called, oh no. So Cara Laing, her I think I'm giving her credit, I'm not sure, but she talks about, and this is where the orchestra comes in, she talks about single malt versus blended malt, and it's not a better, one's better than the other, but if a single malt is an oboe or a violin, the blended malt is the entire orchestra, so you have all of the instruments together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Making that music as opposed to one instrument, as opposed to the oboe.
An oboe solo. You know,
I thought
the best part of any song, the
I
oboes.
thought an oboe was like a wooden instrument.
I'm fairly sure it is, yeah. You know, I'm pretty sure an oboe is a reed instrument. Like
just checking. Not just checking.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what an oboe is anymore. Could be a keyboard for all I know right now.
It could be like we're going to call oboe an oh no.
Yeah, it's a percussive instrument, right? You hit the oboe. That's how you make it do a sound.
If you bang it on a table, it'll make a sound.
Yeah, it's progressive, interesting music. It's very Yoko Oboe. You can be my Yoko Oboe.
Please cut this out.
Never.
Oh my god. Okay.
All right. Game face.
I don't actually love peated whiskey, but I love the smell of this. The nose.
So, do you love screaming guitar solos? Or do you prefer it?
I actually do love a screaming guitar solo. And oboe.
Screaming oboe solo. Can you make an oboe scream? I'm not sure. If you hit it hard enough, maybe you can.
Oh my god.
We're going to enter this into the Comedy Awards.
This is why you don't have two people drinking 10 whiskeys and beer.
Yeah, it's a Big Bad John's that put us over.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh. Yeah.
This is also kind of chocolatey. I think I just like chocolate.
It is, though. You're quite right. And it's funny. It reminds me of s'mores simply from this sitting by a campfire with a slight sweetness. I mean, I'm not sure I'm necessarily getting the chocolate or the graham cracker or even the marshmallow, but getting like a sweet smoke thing.
Or like a marshmallow, like a toasted, like a, you know, when you burn your marshmallow on the fire? So sweetness and burnt sugar.
Yeah, it's like roasting a marshmallow on a fire and then dunking it in some Oloroso. Or maybe you dunk it in the Oloroso before you put it in the fire. Yeah.
Really nice. Yes, Fanny Bay Oyster Bar. Love Rock Island, and I'm not actually sure if she's a daughter or who she's one of the associated with the company, but she has the rock oyster tattooed on her leg. Yes.
So how to describe this for people who don't have the pleasure of drinking along with this video, based on whiskies that you might have had before. Imagine a peatier Highland Park Dark Origin. Maybe you've had that, or like a really heavily sherried Highland Park, but upping the peat, I would say. Same style of peat, almost. It's that classic sort of bonfire Highland peat that I would more equate with like Ardmore or something. I wouldn't say it's particularly like, it's salty, but it's not like seaweedy. It's not iodine-y at all.
No, I mean, the peat is so actually gentle. Like, I'm not a peated whiskey fan, and most people who know me know this, but this is really nice. Like, it's so well balanced between a bit of the smoke, a bit of the peat, a tiny bit of the saltiness. Yeah, it's really pretty amazing.
And I do have to address one thing specifically for the market here. There is one distillery that's named on this bottle, which a lot of people have a visceral hatred for in Victoria. So if you do hate Jura, don't worry. This tastes nothing like Jura. It might have some in it, but don't worry. It's okay.
Why do people hate Jura?
I don't know. But it's like, if you ask anyone in Victoria what their least favourite distillery is, Jura is the most common answer by quite a long stretch. Followed by Dalmore. I think the people just don't like Richard Madison. I don't know. But yeah, no, there's a weird dislike for Jura in this part of town.
One of the most popular whiskeys that I brought in last year was a 10-year-old Jura, And I think maybe it was so popular because people were so surprised at how amazing it was.
Yeah.
It was a single cask.
IB jurors can be incredible. And it makes you question what on earth the official bottlers are doing to it, neutering poor juror. I've got an SMWS juror back there, which is, can we see Margaritas, 3136, 29-year-old juror, which is absolutely stunning.
29?
29-year-old, yeah. Which it should be for a 29-year-old juror. But it just makes you wonder what goes wrong with the regular jurors. Like, they've got the juice.
That is weird. But yeah, I've never actually had a juror that I don't like. So that's why I was really surprised when people were so surprised at how great that 10-year-old that I brought in was.
Yeah.
But now I know.
Fair enough. Well, if you do like Jura, then buy this Rock Island. And if you don't like Jura, then still buy this Rock Island.
Because you will be surprised.
Yeah. It's glorious. It really is. peatier than I would expect, probably from the Kalila, I would say. Because Arran's not known, unless it's like the Macquarie Moors, Arran's not known to be heavily peated.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it comes from the Kalila and the Highland Park. But it's such a nice balance with the other whiskies, with the Jura, with the Arran.
And especially with the sherry as well. I mean, I like the regular rock oyster. I don't know. I'm just going to keep calling it rock oyster.
We can't stop calling it rock oyster. We're really hoping, Douglas Laing, if you're listening, that you're going to have a rock oyster BC edition, limited edition.
See, take Harry Potter as your example. It's okay to have something be called different things in different regions. Why don't you just make some rock oyster labels for the North American market and it's fine? We like oysters over here.
No, not North America, just
BC.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Super
Even better.
limited edition, yes.
Yeah, it's like the what was it, the philosopher and the sorcerer in Harry Potter. In North America, it was called the Sorcerer's Stone because no one knew what a philosopher was. Oh.
No, I thought they called it the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, that is the European one. In North America, it was the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, maybe in the States.
Or maybe just the States.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the USA, not in Canada, because we're not so stupid. But
no. In BC, we often get lumped in with Europe.
I know, for sure.
All right, so yeah, Rock Island Sherry Cask Edition is available again. You don't have to be a premium member to get it this time, though. You can get it at any membership level. However, there are only 5 bottles. The price is $121.65, which means with your 10% discount, it is $109.48, $109.48. And as I say that, I'm wondering if that's a typo. If it's more than that, don't blame me. Blame my horrendous handwriting.
No, that's what we said.
That's what we said?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
My lord.
Or it was my poor typing.
Or my poor reading. Yeah. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's the price. If not, I'm sorry. And if it is, then go for it, because that's ridiculous. That is that is $109 for this whiskey. Sold. Cool. Well, we have one more left, and it's only fitting that the end of the tasting goes right back to the beginning of the Remarkable Regional Malts sort of story.
Yeah.
Of course, there is one whiskey left from the Remarkable Regional Malts that isn't Goldrins, as we said. No Goldrins, sorry. And that is Big Pete. So we're off to Islay next. We're catching the ferry from one island to another. Well, island hopping. All right, Big Pete. So for some reason, I've got a song stuck in my head.
We forgot to name our sports.
Well, it's too late now. Cricket for all of them.
Tennis.
So, are you familiar with Mika?
Like
the singer? He did, I think his most famous one, he just did a TikTok. We were talking about TikTok earlier. He did a TikTok phenomenon of I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, and everyone started covering it.
No.
That guy from Vancouver, who is who plays that superhero who swears a lot.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds did a version of it. It's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
But a really cool musician. He has this song called Big Girls, You Are Beautiful. And it's like, Big Pete, you are beautiful. I'm like, yeah. Big Pete. I love Big Pete. You all know this. I did an entire episode very early on in this series of videos on Big Pete. And in fact...
27 or 33?
I have the 26. I have a little bit of the 26 left, so we'll share a dram of this.
I think we should, because I haven't tried that.
You haven't?
No. I have a 27. I tried 27.
Nice. Luckily, I had a friend who bought the 27 as a graduation present for himself and gave me a little sample, so I did side by side. Very good. But this is not 27 or
No.
26. It's also a whole lot less money than the 26 or 27, you'll be glad to know. This is probably one of the best value propositions I'm looking for an Islay whiskey that I've seen in a long time. Big Peach 12. Yes, it officially comes with an age statement now, which is pretty cool. I felt like Merry and Pippin in The Hobbit there. Not in The Hobbit, in Lord of the Rings. It comes in an age statement? It's very exciting stuff. And 12 is fantastic. I think they picked a great age for Big Peach. I'm really looking forward to trying this because a lot of the whiskies that would go into Big Peach, their official bottlings are 12 years old. So I'm thinking Kalila especially. The Kalila 12 is just an incredible dram. And I actually even like the Lagavulin 12 is my favorite Lagavulin. I think Bowmore 12 is absolutely incredible. And yeah, it's a perfect age for that kind of peach of whiskey, I think.
Yeah, 12 is great. I mean, don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain there's no Lagavulin in there.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, pretty sure. But I mean, on the label, they say Ardbeg, Bowmore, Kalila.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's, I'm fairly certain there's something else in there. I mean,
Port Ellen.
And Port Ellen.
Yeah. Which I'm fairly sure the Port Ellen that's in here is not 12.
No.
They found some 12-year-old Port Ellen somewhere.
No.
Something weird has happened.
Yeah. So
I
mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows that when you do an age statement whiskey, the youngest whiskey has to be the age statement. But Port Ellen closed in 1983, so you do the math. The youngest whiskey from Port Ellen is from 1983. And Port Ellen is, opening up again, but it's not
necessarily true, of course, though, because whiskey age is only done from when it's in cask. If they had it in cask and took it out into an inert container at 12 years old, it could be around. But
correct.
That's not. Why would they do that?
But the thing is, also too, with Scotch whiskey rules, you can only claim an age statement on a whiskey after it's been aged in the cask, not if it's been exported. So it could be Port Ellen that's moved in something else, but I kind of doubt that's happened.
Yeah, I was actually looking into those rules a fair bit recently, and I can't remember the exact amount, but there's actually some grace time. You're allowed to move it from cask into an inert container and then back into cask, and they will allow a certain amount of time in that inert container and allow you to count that as cask.
Yeah, but I think it's like 6 months or something. It's not.
It's not 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty small. Yeah, it's not a very long period.
Anyway, rules and regulations aside, we have a 12-year-old Big Peach, and that's very exciting.
With some really old Port Ellen in there.
Yeah. So I feel like you have definitely won the porkcock competition. you are the porkcock queen. So you can do the honors on the final one.
I love to be the porkcock queen.
There's a t-shirt for you.
Let us not go any further into that. So the one thing I love about Big Pete is that it's always so. Maybe I don't love, but it's like so interesting that it's like the color hardly ever changes. And I mean, this is actually sort of a deeper kind of apple juice color than we see from Big Pete. It's usually fairly pale.
Apple juice is such a perfect description for that.
Yeah.
Well done.
That was good. I was actually going to say something.
A sample? Yeah. Yeah, be careful what cup you use for apple juice in a hospital. That's a good tip for life.
Oh God. I ripped up.
Don't break a nail. I'll get it for you.
No, I have no nails. I was gonna say the other thing about on Big Pete, and I don't even know what this is for, but like they've got like lines on the thing there. It's like
a compass.
It's a what?
It's a compass.
Oh.
There's E for east.
Oh, okay. See,
and there's S for south.
Okay, so that's what happens when you're old. And I'm like, why do they have that on the little
What's with the lines and arrows
thing? It's like how much peat is there?
What a compass has got to do with Big Pete, I'm not entirely sure.
Know, but like, I didn't know that they was on the top there. Right?
No, I didn't know actually.
I think that might be a new. That's actually a new thing. Yeah. Wait. Can you see that? Right there.
We can see it. It's good.
This is what happens after we've had a lot of whiskey. Okay, the 12-year-old Big Pete. Is this going to be like the
pork cock of the year?
And
she's going for gold in the pork cock competition. The Olympic pork cock.
No, that's like not even in the medal competition. That was pretty weak. Yeah.
It's okay. The glug.
Oh.
The glug brought it back, I think.
Not bad,
That's a
not
good glug.
bad. I think we had a good glug on the. I don't even know what the hell.
So if there is one region, and it makes sense that you would start with Nufi, to be honest, not for a tasting, but for a brand. If there's one region where you can sort of have a good stab at making a characteristic, Isla is kind of it.
Yeah.
A good 90% of Isla is heavily peated.
Yeah.
Of course, not always. You got Boonahaven, which is comes in peated and unpeated flavour. You can get unpeated Bricklady.
You can get unpeated Kalila as well.
Yeah, the Highlands version, yeah. The Sitchell's Reserve we had a couple of years ago. But the vast majority of it, especially the stuff that doesn't go into blends, is peated.
For me, I always feel like there's a lot of sweetness on the nose of Big Pete.
Yeah. Candied bacon.
Exactly.
Candied bacon that has been candied with Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing. I was taught by a guy from Newfoundland who had a hot dog truck in Barrie, Ontario.
It's like a bad joke.
I know, right? This beautiful trick of caramelizing onions using soda, and he would use either Coke or Dr. Pepper. It's so good. Dr. Pepper caramelized onions. I'm imagining cooking bacon like that with Dr. Pepper. That's what it smells like. Smoky bacon, Dr. Pepper.
Okay, I'm not getting that. I can totally appreciate that. I'm
no one on the planet is probably getting that.
Can you even buy Dr. Pepper anymore? Because next time I caramelize onions, I'm definitely going to use Dr. Pepper. Forget the balsamic vinegar.
Oh yeah, it's great. And it's such a quick way of caramelizing onions as well. If you're doing a barbecue or you're doing a lot of hot dogs, you can quickly caramelize onions just by pouring a can of Dr. Pepper in the pan.
Tricks that we never knew Adam had. Adam, how do you...
Tricks of the trade.
How do you caramelize a whole bunch of hot dogs in 5 minutes? That's a
Dr. Pepper! And Nufi told me. He's a great guy.
Next episode of...
It's probably the one thing I miss most about working in Barrie. In fact, it's probably the only thing I miss about working in Barrie is that hot dog stand. It was awesome. He introduced me to Nufi fries. Have you come across that?
No.
Now, I don't know if this is actually a Nufi thing or whether it was just him. But Nufi fries is poutine, which is already pretty good, with crumbled stuffing on top.
Huh.
Yeah, you like that microwave stuffing. It comes in a box.
I was in Duncan yesterday, and there was several signs, like 10 signs in the parking lot to point you to this hot dog stand. And no, they were like, hot dogs. And I'm like, is Duncan famous for hot dogs? Like, I don't know if it was and it was in it wasn't the store. It was just this random pop-up hot dog cart. And I don't know if they were a fundraiser or whatever, but I felt like I actually might have to go back tomorrow to see what's going on with the hot dog stand.
I have to have a hot dog.
Yeah. Have you used Dr. Pepper? if not, I'm not sure if I want to try these, but
I wonder if you could boil the hot dogs in Dr. Pepper. No.
Oh.
That might be a bit too far.
Yeah, that's like super candied, like that. I can see yourself, like that's like super candied bacon, like
for a certain kind of garden party, that would be good.
We digress. So far, not getting any hot dog Dr. Pepper smell.
But that is the wonderful thing about whiskey is its ability to unlock long-lost bizarre memories.
Exactly. I think that is exactly what I love about whiskey. You can have a story or a flavor or a memory. Like, I mean, the scent is the most primal. Our scent is the most primal of our senses. And, you might come across a scent. Like, for me, it's the beach, or like for the first time, I grew up in Alberta, so I didn't grow up around the ocean. So the first time I smelled the beach, I remember that exact moment. And so when you smell Rock Island or even Big Pete, you that might be taking you back to that moment of when you smelled the beach the first time. And growing up in Alberta, like smoked bacon or barbecue was not an uncommon thing. So maybe you don't have a specific memory, but yeah. that's what I love again about whiskey. It's so subjective, and everyone has a different memory of what that smell is.
There's lots of fishing nets, creosote, Wellington boots.
And again, if you have no idea what Wellington boots are, they're wellies, they're rubber boots, but like, and that's a typical Isla Big Pete, fisherman being on the docks, the rubber boots.
Like, you can't see Big Pete from the neck down, unfortunately, but I'm fairly sure he's wearing like rubber boots.
Big wellies.
He's wearing wellies, bright yellow wellies, and probably no pants.
Pants as in trousers? I mean, sorry, pants as in like
North American pants.
Yeah. This is another thing about the North American, European vernacular. Pants versus trousers. Pants, if you're in the UK or in Europe, mean your underpants, and trousers are what you wear.
Well, actually, he's probably not wearing either, because I'm pretty sure I've seen pictures of Big Pete with full body, and he's wearing a kilt.
Yeah, he's wearing a kilt. Some he's wearing that's true. Yeah. So this one, we're not sure what he's wearing.
Leave it to your imagination, whiskey folk.
Oh my God, what was I going to say?
Sorry.
When I met Fred Laing, not when I met Fred Laing, but I asked Fred about Big Pete, and because the way he talks about Big Pete, you might wonder if it's potentially like his imaginary friend, the way he talks about Big Pete. And I said, is Big Pete, is he looking that way because he's so blown away by the wind on the island, or is it the peat that's just blowing his head off? And he said it's both. It's the peat, but it's also really, if you've been to Isla, you know that like it could be super windy. And Big Pete is the typical Isla fisherman. That's what his character is based on. And actually, to step back a bit further, the reason why they came up with Big Pete or how they came up with Big Pete was they had not a glut, but they had quite a bit of Isla whiskey, that single malt, that they weren't sure what to do with. And they knew that they couldn't really maybe bottle it as single cask, single malt. So they came up with this blend. And that's the thing about the IB, is that it's very, they're very smart business people, and they have to sell and whatever. And so they came up with Big Pete because they knew they had this, Isla whiskey they had to sort of move. And hence Big Pete, and that was in 2010, and it's been phenomenal success.
I've always had a theory about Big Pete, which I've been too afraid to ask, but we've had 9 grams.
Yeah.
You don't have to confirm or deny, but I can tell from the look in your eyes if you know or not. I've always had this theory that the only reason Port Ellen is in Big Pete is because Douglas Laing had a whole bunch of Port Ellen that dropped below 40%, so they couldn't release it on its own.
Oh, actually, I have never. You know what? That's interesting theory, but I have no idea. But that actually makes sense.
Right.
That makes total sense. And the other thing is, further to that, is that Douglas Laing, because of their connections on Isla, had a lot of Port Ellen, and they have a lot of Port Ellen that's not below 40%. And as you know, if it's below 40%, it can't be called Scotch whiskey. But interesting theory. I'd never actually thought of that, but that's probably, it's probably true.
All right, Cara, if you're watching this, we want answers.
And it was Adam's question, not mine. I have nothing to do with this, especially after all the whiskeys.
Well, you can tell I liked it because I'm finished mine.
I haven't even. Yeah, we didn't even talk about tasting notes. Nothing. It's just like
I said creosote.
Oh yeah, creosote.
Fishing nets.
Fishing nets.
Yep.
So if you know what creosote and fishing nets taste like, this is your guy.
Exactly. If you've ever licked a fishing net.
So I will tell you, and this is a little like teaser, but coming up is something unique, is called Big Pete's Old Particular 15-year-old single cask. So think about the whiskeys that you know about Big Pete, and it's one distillery.
Nice.
15-year-old, yes.
Nice.
And there's one viewer who knows what I might be talking about. Blair, I'm talking to you. Yeah. Yeah, that's coming up. And I was only allocated 2 cases. So that just goes to show you how pretty special this whiskey is.
That sounds very, very special.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 15-year-old single cask.
Whoever told you how much I like you?
Adam, you know you've already got probably both cases.
Speaking of having both cases of something that there's only 2 cases, thank you again for keeping up the trend of us having the Isla Festival editions. So we released the Petrichor edition during what would have been the Victoria Whiskey Festival weekend. We had a little weekend of special releases in honor of the festival that never was again. And that sold out instantly, like so fast, unbelievably fast, which makes me think that this might have the same fate, especially as I know, as you were speaking about earlier, I know people that collect Big Peats who probably don't have this one in their collection yet. Yes, I know a couple of people, especially people up near Courtney.
Which is where I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah.
Too bad.
I almost feel like I should just let them have one in advance so you can deliver it on your way up tomorrow, but I'll be up there soon enough anyway. This is available right now at strathliquor.com for a very limited time. The regular price is $159.91, which means the sale price 10% off is $143.92. $143.92 for something A, that has Port Ellen in it, and B, that has 12-year-old Ardbeg in it. At the very least 12-year-old, yep. possibly older.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a beautiful whiskey that I really hope that we see more of in the future. I know that they're planning to make it part of the standard editions.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, pretty damn cool. And I think with that, I think we should turn the camera off before we make more fools of ourselves while we finish off the rest of these whiskies. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Do let us know in the live chat what your favorite was. But we're going to give you the full lineup again as a reminder of what we've just released and what might still be available at strathliquor.com or might have sold out already. So we started off with the Epicurean
12.
The 12. All right. So let's go left to right from the viewer. So we'll line them up over here. This is going to be quite the incredible lineup visually of whiskies. I'll move
Tawny.
Big Bad John out of the way.
Tawny, yeah.
The Tawny, lovely.
Yeah. Ruby.
Oh yeah,
This is super sorority.
Yeah, right. Can you remember what happened an hour and a half ago?
Wait,
Timorous? Yeah, and then they meet the beast.
Yeah.
It's honestly incredibly difficult to try and pick a favorite from this bunch, though, isn't it? Scallywag, I think we did the chocolate first.
There we go.
And then the Casper and 12-year-old, which might be my pick, to be honest.
Oh.
And then the Big P12. That only just fits in frame. In fact, I'm going to have to shuffle things across a little bit to get Big Pete in there. That has been an incredibly epic tasting. Thank you very much for joining us here on Drinking
I just want to say that I'm actually super proud of ourselves for not being on our faces. Not being on our faces. But thank you very much. I'm so happy to share this with everyone. I love this this brand and the company Douglas Laing, and which is why I wanted to bring them over with me to Lionheart, and I think it's just fantastic.
So so huge thanks, of course, to the guys at Douglas Laing for making these whiskies, but a massive thank you not only for joining us on the show, but for bringing all of these whiskies in. You've done all the legwork, all the hard work of getting them here, and long may it last. And congratulations on the launch of the business.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to exploring all of the products that you're bringing in, which includes stuff that we already have on the shelf, by the way, including the Boulder collection from Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder Spirits, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so we've got the what we have right now. We've got the sherry cask bourbon is moving pretty quickly. I think that might be the winner of the bunch so far.
It's amazing. The thing with Boulder is the distillery, the guy who created the brand, Alistair, he's a Scotsman, and he actually wanted to sort of amalgamate his roots with American whiskey. So the blend or the mash bill is 51% corn, but also 44% malted barley. So it's almost like a whiskey or a bourbon that Scotch drinkers would like.
You've heard of wheated bourbons.
Yeah.
This is a malted bourbon, basically.
Yes.
And not just that, but they make single malt as well.
Yeah.
We've also got the peated single malts, and we've got the bottled in bond bourbon as
Yeah.
well. They're all available right now at strathliquor.com, as is the Broken Barrel.
Yes.
Love a bit of wine cask whiskey.
Yes.
And, as much as I grew up on the Scottish stuff, I don't mind a bit of North American whiskey every now and again. It can be quite delightful.
But don't forget about the exclusive. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about that. Like the cask strength bourbon that we had done for the whiskey festival. This is
an exclusive right now. This is the first anyone has ever heard of this other than me. So yeah, tell us about it. What's going on?
So this is the Barrel Select cask strength bourbon that we did with Boulder Bourbon, and it was meant to be for our Victoria Whiskey Festival, which sadly, of course, did not happen.
On that though, quickly, I should have mentioned by now that you can still buy the Victoria Whiskey Festival Glencairn glasses. They're $15, and all of the profits go to charity. So please do support that.
Okay, I got to put my order in. So this bottling of the cask, we managed to split with my partners in Alberta, actually, and we had hoped to have this for the Whiskey Fest, but sadly, the Whiskey Fest didn't happen. But as a result, the cask strength bourbon is still not available yet in BC. But so it's been a good and bad thing.
It will be here.
Yes,
and hopefully it'll be here in time for the Highland Games. Maybe we'll launch it.
100%. It's available next week, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
So. Yeah, but absolutely.
Maybe we'll.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to do a bourbon, a Boulder masterclass for the Highland Games, including that whiskey, which is not heard of very often. A single cask strength bourbon. So I don't know if anyone's can come up with that, but.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Broken Barrel. And I'm also very much looking forward to other things in your portfolio, which I happen to know are on the way.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some incredible mezcals coming. You've got a particularly interesting gin, which has a local connection as well.
Absolutely. So some of you may have heard of Leon Webb. You
can't see my top shelf here, but I have about, I think, 14 shelter points up there. If you've not met Leon at Shelter Point yet, do yourself a favor.
So what you might, and this is what I didn't know about Leon, was that when he was doing his PhD in distilling, he was responsible for creating Isle of Harris gin. And
it's actually just available. Sorry, cheap plug. We just got that in at Strathagan.
Yeah, no, I love that gin. And then he also created, or he worked with a friend of his from his PhD program on a distillery in Campbelltown called Kintyre Distillery, and they created, or Leon created the recipe for Kintyre gin, which I will be bringing in, and I'm super excited about that. But not only did he create that gin and the Isle of Harris gin, but a tiny little gin that you might have heard of called Empress Gin. Just a small little
taking the world by storm.
Yeah,
and of course Shelter Point gin.
And Shelter Point gin. So it's funny that Leon's passion is whiskey, but he seems to be kind of good at creating gin.
He's like an accidental gin savant.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm super excited about Kintyre gin, and it should be here maybe three months late spring. But yeah,
perfect time for gin.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I look forward to all of that. Thank you once again for joining me here. I'm looking forward to shutting off the camera and sharing a few more grounds with you. Again, any questions that you have, please let us know in the comments section or in the live chat. And thank you all for joining us. It has been a pleasure. We'll see you on the next one. Slash a bar. Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Your